right, everyone. And let me zoom in here before I start my intro, even though I am recording. Here we go. All right, people. It is me, of course. Who else would it be? Before I jump into this, I know a lot of you have been saying on social media. Let me see if I can. Oops, don't want to do that. Let me see. Okay, that'll work. So I know a lot of you have been seeing posts on social media, and I'm like, I'm not going to be doing much content anymore, but I have a lot of pre-recorded stuff. This is one of those interviews, one of those podcasts that'll be pre-recorded. I have some really great pre-recorded stuff, tons of stuff. I shouldn't say that I won't formally be doing, I won't have a channel. I'll still be NWA is still my home. I will still do guest appearances there, and anything that I think, like if I see something that's like, hey man, this is viable, let's talk about it. Like you'll definitely see me on other people's stuff. So I'm not like 100% gone, but I'm like 95% gone. So anyway, next to me, I've got a friend of mine who's from Sweden, and me and this guy, we've been chatting it about for a few years now, and very interesting conversations. This man, if you don't know his page, is Northern Reptiles. Some of the best like custom made enclosures that I've seen, especially for someone who builds themselves, like some of the best stuff, some of the best looking animals in the game. So without further ado, I'm going to let Jacob introduce himself, and then we're going to dive into this.
All right. Hello. I'm Jacob. Yeah, I have the page Northern Reptiles, and I like pythons.
That's it. Yeah, that's good start. Let's get them. No, so
yeah,
no, bro. Let's having known you for this many years, and we've talked about this animal, that animal, animals we don't have, animals we wish we've had, things like that. Of course, it's always the. What was? Let me ask you this one. Let's say, what year did you start like grabbing and purchasing reptiles? Let's start there.
Okay, so everything started off early. So my bedtime stories when I was young was like, scientific books about dinosaurs and reptiles. So it started off really young. And then I got my first leopard gecko when I was in 4th grade. So was that like 11, I think?
Okay.
And then the year after, I got a corn snake. And then I got some Australian water dragons. Then I got some bearded dragons. Then some Asian water dragons. And then
I think that's like I think that's like how it started.
Yeah.
Like leopard gecko, corn
snake. Started slow, and then you.
Yeah. And then, for sure.
And then you realize that it's amazing, and there's so many cool stuff out there, and you wanted to learn more, and you build enclosures, and so I started off my first background builds way back then. And they all look like shit because you have to start somewhere, right?
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
But now, compared to now, yeah, of course. I mean, if I think back to like some of the first stuff that I did with like the particle board back in the day,
yeah, let's not look at that.
Especially like if you're in an environment like where my family, my caretakers at the time, like they weren't really into that. Like everyone knew that I had this crazy obsession with animals in general, but especially like the reptiles and the amphibians. And so like I remember like wanting to get stuff, and of course like in my mind, like I want to create like this huge environment, because when you go to the zoo, that's what you see. You see them in like the nice cage, and you're like, oh man, that's what I want to do. And so like
you study them in the wild, and you see how they behave, and
right. And I remember like, and I'm sure you might remember some. I'm sure you remember this too. Is like when I first started, it was all like for the most part like aquariums. There were the tubs didn't exist. There was a lot of. I think at that point in time, like there wasn't really anything. Everything was still kind of like makeshift, custom made. How can we do this? What do we need? Because like if you look at like the heating elements that we use in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, and then in the 90s, and then as they progressively they got better to an extent.
Thank God.
Right. But I remember like when I would go to the pet shops or wherever, like I would be looking for glass aquariums. I didn't even know what a terrarium was in 1988. I knew aquarium. So, and then to get an animal and then want to graduate, be like, oh, I want to build something. And like, How was that? Like, because for me, my first build kind of like never got off the ground because like I remember, and I'll never forget this. Like, it was like a heartbreaking story. Like my aunt and uncle, they take me to the hardware store, right? Because in my mind, like I'm gonna get this white lip python because like I'm obsessed with white lip pythons. It's 1994 is the year, right? So I'm
way back.
Right. Yeah. I'm only, I'm 13 years old, bro. You know what I mean? And so, so I'm like, I'm gonna get this white lip python. I had a blood python I had just gotten. And so, and then I also like burned a hole in the carpet. They didn't know that though. I covered that up because again, like I just said, the heating elements were different. So I never recall getting in the early 90s, like 89 to like 93, it was all like above tank heaters, like with the screw-in bulbs.
Yep.
And so I remember like I took that off and I put it on the carpet and I forgot to turn it off and it burnt a hole in the carpet. So I had to hide it.
The rookie mistake, right?
Yeah. So
we've all been there though.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I had them like, in my mind, like I'm gonna get this white lip python, bro. And I'm obsessed and I'm excited for it. Because this is the first.
Did you?
No, I never, not that year I did it. That was the whole thing, right? So so they're like walking me through, they're like, okay, all right, we're gonna let you do this. So you gotta go and you gotta get the stuff to build the enclosure first. And I'm like, cool, no problem.
Fair.
And yeah, so we go, we get it, we have them cut it and everything. And like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, bro. I didn't even have material for a frame. Like I just had the outer layer and I'm thinking like, I'm going to like somehow nail this shit together.
Oh, this is perfect. I have everything I need.
In my mind, it's going to work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And that was why I didn't get the snake. Like, how was your first build, bro? Like when you first like were like, all right, whatever the animal was, like when you're like, how did you come to say like, I'm going to build an enclosure, I want to put something together? Like, how did that start?
Luckily, my dad is a carpenter. So, and we always lived in a house. So he helped me. He hated snakes. He always have. He still is. But he always helped out with the enclosure builds because he wanted to help out. This is your hobby. I don't accept it or I don't like it, but I'll help you out.
Gotcha.
So, he taught me like how to do things and why we built things like this, the construction part of it. So that helped, obviously.
For sure. Yeah, because see, I wouldn't really go on to learn all the technicalities until I went to college really for architecture. And that was in 1999. So this wasn't that many years apart, but from then on, like I was, like I said, buying aquariums, use cages. What I did learn how to make very, very well, because eventually I would learn about terrariums and paludariums and vivariums. What I was able to make very well were aquariums.
Yep.
Because that was the most, but glass was expensive. But that was, to me, it was the most abundant thing that I could get without having to haul a lot. And, like take up a ton of space because when I could only afford like glass that was like 24 inches, I couldn't get anything bigger than that because it was super expensive. Like now you call for glass and it's like much cheaper.
Or you just go onto the Facebook Marketplace.
Right. Exactly. Or you find someone, or even like the cages that I have now that I built from scrap wood, I use plexiglass. And everyone was like, no, you can't use plexiglass. Don't use plexiglass. Like once it starts getting warm, it'll bend. And I mean, these cages are going on 4 years old and I haven't seen a hint of that yet. So what is like, because you do like, I see, it's like every 15 minutes. I swear I feel like you're building something. It's not for you. You're either like building something, redoing something, or building something for someone else or somewhere else, or I'm just like it's be like snake, build, snake, build, snake, build on your story. Like what's the smallest build that you've done?
Well, I'm doing a bunch of 80 centimeters times 50 times 50.
Okay.
But I measured that if I buy 3 sheets of plywood, I can get out like 6 different enclosures out of it. So I built a small one, but then I built 6 of the small enclosures.
Gotcha. What are you gonna put in there?
Some of them I gave away.
Okay.
Now it's just upgrades for the Savu pythons and
Okay.
for the Stimson's python. So yeah.
And
And
then,
then my brother wants some as well for his snakes. And yeah, it's just fun to build.
and so do you, what I found, like, do you find it more complicated? Let's say when you're done with the enclosure, do you find it more complicated to put decor in smaller enclosures or in the bigger enclosures? Like to get them like to the point where you're like happy with them? Because like for me, like I'm doing a 4x2x5 right now.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just taking like wood that I've cut and I'm like, cleaning it and sanding it and then like cutting it and putting it, screwing it in and putting it back together. Like, and then like when I go and then I look at it and I'm like, man, that ain't gonna work. Like, because it's like it's either too much space. It's like I don't know, like I'm sure that you deal with the frustration of like what you see in your mind, and when you get the area done, and now you're like, man, so this image that I have in my mind, like that's not gonna work in here. Like
the thing is with the small enclosures, you have to focus more on the details because it's such a small space. So you have to everything shows.
Right.
In the bigger enclosures, you can be more. It's more giving, so you can hide it behind. People don't see the details.
Do you think, or do you use like a focal point from like a starting point, like a corner or an object, and then you come from there? Like,
yeah, I'm going through the. You know how we take photographs?
Mm-hmm.
To use the like golden cut and the 3 pieces things, and they have all of those rules. So the first thing that I do is where I'm going to put the heating, and then I put like a ledge on the heating spot, and then I put a ledge on the cool spot, and then you try to make it like molded together through these like focal points that you have, and then everything is going to be hidden behind like logs and rocks and plants anyway. So, but then you get this kind of little pocket thing that's nice to look at.
And then let's excuse me. Generally, like how so once your stuff's set, because like I said, you've got like I look at your enclosures and then I get ideas, and then I'm like, man, I wish I had that much space. But then I look at like
I don't have any space though.
And that's no, it's crazy.
I have like 5 enclosures in my kitchen. I don't have a kitchen table.
Bro, look,
I don't have a TV.
No, we're
enclosures everywhere.
Hey, we should be roommates then.
Yeah.
Because if this house were better insulated, it would be a total zoo in here. It would be a total zoo in this house if it was better. Like my sunroom, I've got another like 270 like square feet in my sunroom. There's nothing down there. I had the dogs in there. There's no more dogs here. But there's windows that go, it's like a C that go along the outer rim. So all that air, like I have like thermal curtains in there. I've recarpeted and I've actually redone the whole room. So it looks really nice. But like trying to keep it insulated, like in the winter, it's impossible. And
too hot in the summer, too cold in the winter.
In the spring and summer, it's the perfect place. Like it's almost too hot in the summer, but I have all the windows I can open and the sun comes in. It's a great space for animals and plants. But like I said, in the winter, it's totally. But like if that space or my living room were better insulated, bro, I would every room in here would have like something either on the wall, in the wall, like somewhere. But, I can't, but it's like, I think when I see, we'll say, because I know we've talked about this before, like when I watch people, and this is not everyone over here, but when I watch stuff over here and then I see stuff in Europe and in Asia, these people that keep these animals, it's just like, no matter how many times I see it, I'm just always very impressed. And I'm not saying there's some people over here who are actually doing like great things in the Americas with their stuff, but it's like the percentage is like that compared to like other places. And
unfortunately, I agree.
So like what you're doing is not industry standard by any means. Like what I'm doing is not industry standard by any means. Like have I used industry standards? Of course. Like I've been on my pedaling. Like, and then, anyone who knows me knows. Like I sold reptiles at one point. I import export. Like I did pedaling. I did breeding and selling. Like I've done every aspect. Just like me being a chef, I've worked every position in the kitchen from dishwasher to executive chef because like that's how you know. You know what I mean? Like how am I? I can't say like, oh, I'm going to run a restaurant, but I don't know anything about the bar. I don't know anything about the house. Yeah. Like if you only know how to cook, you're not going to get very far. So like, so it's like, and so let's see, we said in 94, 95, you said you were 2. So by the time you said you're 11, so that's 9 years later, but you're in Sweden. So like, how were these animals being presented to you in, like, by the time to where you're actually like, because you said you're going to bed with bedtime stories of dinosaurs and things like that already. So when you wake up, you're probably waking up like I was, like thinking about that same stuff. Like you go to bed, So like, how are the reptiles being presented in Sweden, like for like the pet trade over there?
We have pretty good like pet shops when I was growing up. So there were some in Stockholm and in the place where I live now, in Västerås. So you had this special guys that, because it was accepted back then. Right. It wasn't like, now there's hardly any left because the hobby kind of died and we have Amazon and we have like all of that shit. But back then I remember there was this place called Suhu. And there was this guy there it was called Niklas, and they had this massive like green iguana enclosures. So I went there every day after school, every single day. And then he was like, "Oh, do you want to help me? We just got a delivery of these emperor scorpions. Do you want to help me put them back in the enclosures?" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Right.
So yeah, and then he got some Nile monitors. It was like, "Oh, these are scary, but do you want to help out?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." And then I still remember to this day, that I asked him, was like, can you open up the green iguana enclosure? I was like, yeah, I don't have time right now, and he handed me the keys. And this was the biggest day for me.
Right.
It felt like I was working there.
Graduation day.
Yeah, he trusts me enough. And then it kind of spiked my interest, because I saw these amazing people growing up and he helped me, he answered all my questions and we had everything going on in these pet shops, right. The right lighting and the experienced people working in the pet shops who loved animals.
And so what were you seeing, like, if you can remember as much? Because like I can tell you what, like in 1988, it's the first time I ever went or worked in a pet store, right? And I was 7. And I had no idea that this was it's kind of like what you just said, where he gave you the keys. My aunts were, I had just moved to Washington, D.C. I hadn't been there very long. And my aunts were at this time establishing youth programs for the inner city kids to make money during the summer to keep them out of trouble, right? So me and my cousin were the same age. We're both 7 and 8. And, his brother, we were there as well. But legally, we're not allowed to work. So basically, they would just like write us in on the book so we could get paid. And then they would, right. So I started working at like 8 years old, 7, 8 years old.
Got to start them young.
My cousin, my cousin, everyone knew, like I said, that I had like this obsession from way back, because growing up, one side of my family farmed animals and the other side farmed like vegetables. So like, I was always there, like, and so my cousin was like, "Yo, there's a pet store like right around the corner. It's like right there." And so my aunt was like, "Okay, you want to go work at the pet store? I'll see if they'll let you work there." And I was like, "All right, cool." So they took me down.
Hell yeah.
Right, they take me down there and I walk in. And it's kind of like with you, the same thing. Like I remember, like it was yesterday. It was called Animal Hut. And I walked in there and there was a waterfall and there were like Madagascar dead geckos running around in the stores that I would find out that like collect the crickets that would get loose and stuff.
Oh yeah, nice.
And they had this huge like 200 and 250 gallon tank for Europlatus, like every kind of Europlatus, gecko you could think of. The stuff
All
that
in
you
the
don't
same
even
tank?
see anymore. Yeah, back then, like they had them all, and I had no idea what I was looking at.
Yeah, well,
Like
yeah.
fucking Fimbriotis on the thing like that big, and I'm just like, and then there's a pond with koi, and then they, I'm like just walking around, and my aunt's talking to the guy, and they're looking at me, and looking at
Paradise when you're a kid, right?
right, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, to remind you, Reptile magazine doesn't exist yet.
Mm.
The only thing that's out is Reptile and Amphibian magazine, which is not the same thing.
Yeah.
And then Aquarium, Bird, Dog World, and Dog Fancy. Those were the magazines that were out.
That was it.
So when you go in, like that's what I saw. And then eventually, and so the owner's like shakes his head. My aunt comes up to me. She's like, they say you can stay. And then she just leaves me. And the owner's son is in there. And he's like, I'm 7. He's like 10. You know what I mean? And so he takes me in the back and they give me my first job, which is stunning mice. It's like the first job I ever had to do. And I didn't care. I didn't even think about it. Like, he was like, you ever stunned mice before? And I'm like, brother, I don't even know what that means. And
but at least you were in the door, right?
Right. I'm in the door. This is where my white-lipped python obsession came in. They had white-lipped pythons there. First time I'd ever seen or heard of this animal. I knew they had red-tailed boas there, but being South American, I was familiar with that snake. So, and but it was still fascinating to see it in a pet store. And they had water dragons, leopard geckos,
all the classical stuff,
red snake, rat snakes, corn snakes. And so kind of like what you were saying, like same thing is like I'm in there and everything was just totally different then than it is now. Like everything, like I remember those guys were incubating in styrofoam coolers with no heaters, just in a room that they had like got up to temp, and they were hatching shit out like that. I didn't, I'm 8, bro. I don't know. I'm trying to, soak in everything.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, like now those shops and those people are like, there's still some shops like that worldwide, but it's like you said, they're like far and few in between.
The big difference, I think, is that right now it's money based.
Yes.
Back then it was passion based.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes. And I said that I was on a podcast with someone and I said, man, I remember back in the 80s and 90s, like when we got a snake, like one, at least for me, my people didn't really want me to have that shit. So for me to get a snake in the door, like, I had to do some stuff, ultimatums or whatever, but
prepare and knowledge and
I had to know all of that. My grades had to be good. I had to not be annoying. Like
in your room.
Right. Number one rule. So but the time and the care is like you said, the passion. And I even remember back then, people who did have reptiles, when I would go to their houses, they were trying to replicate what they saw in the zoo. And what the little bit of information we did have in the wild from like Marco, Mark O'Shea, he didn't start putting books out until 95, 96. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff would start coming out. So a lot of these animals, bro, I would see them on lists. I didn't even know what the hell they were. I
used the big atlas. So I knew that the bearded dragons came from Australia. And then I used the atlas pictures.
And this is why I'm glad. This is why I wanted to do this with you, because I've talked to other people and I'm like, look, I know this may sound crazy, but I swear in like the 90s that that viper boas and Solomon Island, I'm not Solomon Island true boas, but Madagascar, that ground boas did not come from Indonesia. That they came, and I know there is a Madagascar ground boa, but the viper boas. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sorry,
viper
boas.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe they were mislabeled. Maybe it's a glitch in the matrix. I don't fucking know. But I am 1,000% sure every viper boa I had was said to have come from Madagascar. Now they come from Indonesia. Now I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I smoked the wrong weed. I don't know, but I've had this conversation with someone else, and they were like, well, bro, I don't know about the viper boas, but they told me another species, and they said maybe it got mislabeled, but I remember something else. Can't remember what he said was coming from somewhere else as well.
Is this the Mandela effect? Or
maybe, bro? I don't know, man. Maybe because
maybe. I don't know.
I was obsessed with viper boas, and I knew my shit, bro. Like, and any little bit of information, you know, like I would have known. Like, I remember when people they would tell me back in the day, like, reptiles can't get sick, and I know that because other people
amazing.
and other people were like, yeah, bro, I was told the same stuff coming up. That they're like, I remember specifically, they're like, you know, if a reptile eats an animal and it has like parasites or a disease, like the reptile won't get that. And so that's what
Incredible.
I would regurgitate that information, and then it's not true.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what
you get taught as truth.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing that still. So I wanted to know, like, everything that I know. I was taught from someone else.
Right.
How can I make sure that this is the right information?
Yeah. So now you're finding yourself backtracking.
Yeah.
As an adult on things like, man,
the more I know, the less you know, right?
Right. For sure.
The more you learn, the less you know. Isn't
that
same?
Yeah. That's, I think, what is it? Yeah. The more you know, the less you learn, and then something like that, along that line. But it's basically like, to simplify it is, like I say, you never think you know what you think you know until you absolutely know what you think you know, and even then, you still might want to go back and know a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it just
and it definitely helps, because once you think that you know something, you're gonna fuck it up.
Right.
So all the pros.
You lose the passion, I think, and that's what you said. Like, there was passion versus money back then. The money was different. Like, bro, I can tell you, bro, I was getting priceless in the early 90s with green tree pythons and Amazon. Like, green tree pythons were $75 to $125 back then. And that's on a wholesale. You know what I mean? Like, I remember.
They're all imported, right?
Yeah, everything wild caught. You know, like, and this is even before, some of this is even before Terria opened up, because Bushmaster didn't open up until 93. I got my first green tree python in 92. So they weren't in definitely wasn't a farm. There was no farm breeding at that time, because that farm had, like I said, was still in the process of even opening terraria.
Did they need farms because they were so abundant in the wild?
Then they didn't. And I don't even think, I'm not sure exactly. Like, I would love to get Cam on, you know, to actually go specifically, but I have to be honest. Like, I don't know how honest they would actually be. Like, and I'm, you know, me, bro, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit, on
Get
any.
Tom Crutchfield on here.
Yeah, well, bro, it's like,
and ask him some questions.
For sure. You know how many localities that they misrepresented on purpose with the green tree python, specifically for money? Because, like you said, the passion died and it became commercial. And so I don't know a lot of people who were like just getting reptiles to like, hey, I really like all reptiles, so I want to have like maybe one or two of as many reptiles as I can get. Or you have the person who is like, I really like this species, and I want to get as many as I can and be as diverse as I can with the bloodline, and to start a breeding program or what do they call it, a project in the hobby. And because those words go together, project and hobby, and then you have like longevity and program. And it's very different. It's like, I don't know, and I know you've seen a lot of my stuff, probably most of it. So, you know me, like I do think there is a point of let me say that there is a level of what a hobby is in animals, but I think it's a small percentage of that. After, like a person who's got one or two snakes and a frog, like, yeah, that's a hobbyist for sure.
Yeah.
But, once you start like buying 10, 15, 20, and then you start breeding, and now all of a sudden you want to come on a show, and then you start selling, bro, that's almost like you opened a store.
Yeah.
You kind of opened a restaurant, like in a sense, almost, man. And now, before you know it, you're a facility with 10,000 animals. Like, that's not
because you get the taste for it.
It's not a hobby. Like,
no.
Then you hear, obviously, we all hear conservation, preservation. And I really wish that those things were happening more than what they are, because obviously they're happening, but it's just an excuse, I think, for a lot of hobbyists to conservation, because it's like, I don't know many conservationists that just have a ton of money. Like, bro, I'm a biologist, and I'm not active at by any means at all. And, I just recently said that because there were so many people who were like, oh, I went to so-and-so and I did this. I'm a scientist. No, and I'm not saying don't go do research. And I'm not saying even going to college really doesn't mean shit at the end of the day, because any moron can pass the test and get a degree. But you can tell who wants to be there and why they went there and what happens after.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that someone like yourself or someone who didn't go to school for that specifically can't rise above someone who did. But most motherfuckers aren't doing that.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's all about got to be the first, got to do this, got to do this, got to do that.
Title.
The titles. I don't know, maybe, and you tell me, maybe I think that if title is so important, I would want more of a title of like my longevity, or, this so-and-so cured Nido, or he found a cure for crypto, or, something like that, or, and don't get me wrong, like, oh, it's great to bring an animal in from captivity and you get it to breed. Like, bro, that's great. But then, like you said, the passion leaves, and now all of a sudden you're just breeding these animals just to breed them. Like,
I'm gonna check. I got a quote a while back. It was a quote from Laszlo, the guy who makes the enclosures.
I think I've heard that name before. I haven't bought an enclosure in a while, so.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, so here. It is not enough to keep reptiles alive in captivity. Our greatest responsibility is captive breeding. From this Laszlo guy. And he died in 1987. He built enclosures and made a design and things.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Now I know exactly what you're talking about now.
So I answered this guy saying, no, I don't agree. Because I think it's important to breed in captivity, because we're not going to use the wild-caught animals and everything. But it's not the greatest, and it's not the biggest, because then you have all the racks and you have the shitty housing and everything. So we need to focus on advanced keeping firsthand, and having a small collection of animals, and then breed the ones that you're passionate about.
What you're saying is 1,000% spot on, but it's harder.
Who needs 20,000 ball pythons with fucking smiley faces on them?
Right. Well, that's the thing, and right. Right. So it's what you're saying is it's a great thing, and I agree with it 100%. But when I talk to people, that's why I say, like, it's hard, because when you have conversations with people, just regular conversations about animals and life and things like that, because like all of that goes together. You know what I mean? It's like what you wake up and do. Like me, like I've done animals, plants, and food every single day of my life. Like there's, like some people, they only do reptiles. Like that's a hobby for them. Like this animals is not it's my life. This is what I do. So I don't go work.
But what's your regular job?
Right. Yeah. See. Right. Yeah. I don't have this is my job. And some people go, like my homie's a welder. And then he goes home to do reptile shit. But at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, it's welding.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't have that distance because even as a chef, I'm working with animals. They may be dead, but I'm still working with animals, and I'm still working with plants. You know what I mean? So, and then when I smoke weed, I like to go look at animals. So, even the plant.
And weed is a plant, so I mean.
So, but it's
full circle.
Right. When you're talking to them, they have a different perspective. This is more like, for some of them, this is just something that's there in the house. It's literally just a pet.
I have a regular job. This is just my hobby.
But most people wouldn't think. But here's the thing. Like I said about a hobby, I think. If I were to, by definition of a hobby, it's like, and I were to have one of my friends over here, they'd be like, that's your hobby? Like, you're full of shit, bro. Like, that's crazy. You did all that for a hobby? But then I'm about putting together like a model car. The only difference is, like when you're done with a model car, it's done. So unless you go buy another one, like that's it. The problem is like when I would say the problem with what we're doing, you get done with your enclosure, you get it nice. Now it's ongoing.
Yep.
Because 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, or however long that reptile lives, or you give it a bigger enclosure, like that is the thing. And so when you were saying about captive breeding, it's hard when a lot of these animals are just throwaway animals for people. To the point like the ball python, and I'm not saying that, obviously we have snakes that eat other snakes and things like that. So we need, snakes for feeders, but we have a specific species of snake now that has two purposes. One is to be a pet for someone, and the other is now food for snakes because of the abundance of these animals from the hobby style of breeding through captive breeding. Like you said, like you can't stop captive breeding. You can't stop it.
Of course not.
And it's very ironic that you said that guy, he died in 87. In 86 is when captive breeding clicked worldwide. Because from 1920 to 1985, they were having a lot of difficulties. Like some species were a little bit easier than others they were getting, but 80-90% of the stuff that come over was dropping out. Millions and millions and I've seen the numbers. They lie about it all the time. But, I've seen the numbers. All that stuff's documented. Like even in the 90s.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we had no clue what we were doing. And
so it's not that hard to breed reptiles.
No,
it's kind of in their DNA to breed.
It's I always got a lot of flack for saying this and saying what you just said. Yeah. But I said, bro, it's not hard to breed anything. I said, dude, I've bred rabbits, cats, dogs, snakes, frogs, plants, birds. I think I've single-handedly probably bred more species of animals than anybody that any of us know. Single-handedly. Like, a lot of people contact me wanting to talk to me about, hey, I heard you, bred this, or you did this, or what was your technique for that, or you did that. And I'm like, yeah, bro, some of that shit I got written down, and like some of that stuff I got lucky. I just tried it. I don't know. I don't remember. And,
but it worked.
But it worked, right? Yeah. And so, but what you said is very true. It's not hard, and I think now it's even easier to do it now than it was 3 or 4 decades ago, just based off of one thing, is that you can pick up your smartphone and you can get the exact temperatures, day, night, and humidity anywhere these animals exist that you have.
That's kind of bothers me with people, that once you're not anyone until you breed the species.
Well, that's
What does that mean? And then you can just put 2 snakes in a fucking box, turn it down, turn the temperature down, put them in one tiny little box, and they're going to breed eventually. And then you become this successful guy that fucking managed to do something they did on their own.
That's why I know this is going to be my favorite podcast. I get to talk about this stuff with like Dylan from Animals at Home and Liam from Reptiles and Research, but this conversation that we're having here, or this specific part of it, is something more that I talk about with people who breed mammals, horses and canines. Is because if I buy a dog from you, and then I buy a dog from your homeboy, and then I breed them together, doesn't mean anything. Those are F1 outcross dogs that have absolutely, they're not worth shit. It's an outcross of 2 different bloodlines that I just put together. So, one, I shouldn't even be offering those animals for sale. Because if I'm a breeder and I want to improve my program, the only way that I can do that is to keep the best animals from these litters or these clutches. And the only way to find out if there is the best is to keep them until they mature. I mean, you've heard me say this a million times. Like, look at the green tree python people. Look at some of the scrub people. The minute those things hatch out and they get like a dozen mils in them, they're selling them.
Yep.
So before the animal even changes colors, you know what I mean?
How do you know?
How do you know if that's the one?
Yep.
And it's an outcross. So it's like this. Like, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. Like right now on Morph Market, bro, there is like an $8,000 sickness outcross snake for sale.
I don't look at Morph Market anymore. I'm just sad.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You've got an outcrossed animal, right? So here's the thing. Like, maybe we can figure this out. Because like
All right, let's fucking go.
you say designer animal, right? Okay, so
Are we talking green tree pythons?
let's just use green trees. Let's just use it since we're both familiar with green tree pythons. So let's say me and you want to make a designer animal, right? So you've got yours and you've got your 4 and I got my 4. Localities doesn't matter. It's hypothetical. So
we're in for the morphs.
Right. So, but in my mind, if we're going to do this, that means that me and you have to be in constant communication and that we have to have an idea on what this designer animal is supposed to look like at the end of the program, right? And that could take 10, 15 years to get one animal.
Go with the high blacks, the high blues, the yellows,
and you know, it's like, and then you're in Sweden and I'm over here, so we've got distance. So that's going to make our journey even longer because of the shipping and the waiting and the things like that. But we're committed and we're going to do this. But then we look on Morph Market and we'll see someone take a wild caught Aru to a wild caught scrub, breed them together, designer, $1,800. How is that a designer? What's the design? What is the design? Because what I just said is you have 4 specific animals and I have 4 specific animals. And we've talked enough where we were like, I like what you're doing. And I'm like, I like what you're doing. So we want to put our stuff together. And this is the look that we want. This animal. We want it to look, this is what we want to hit, right? So in order to do that, we formulate a plan.
Yeah.
But like I said, it could take 10, 15 years for this to happen. Yeah. So 10, 15 years go by, and let's say we get like 5 or 6 of these now designer green tree pythons. And they're like, for the most part, they're what we wanted them to be. But it took us 15 years to do this. That is a bloodline. That is a designer animal. And now let's say like we got these designers, right? And then, I don't know, fucking some guy comes along and he wants to buy one, right? He wants to buy one of our designer animals. And so we sell it to him. And then he takes it to a wild caught Manikwari. You just diluted everything that we just did. So if I go, like I said, so like, I look on Morph Market and I see that and I'm like, oh, you got sickness line. And then I go and I scroll because I want to see if the pedigrees are up, and it's all scatterbred shit. And so I'm like, man, bro, I can't give you $8,000 for an outcross scatterbred animal that's supposed to produce one way. I've also seen, and I'm probably sure you've probably seen this too, is like you'll see like there'll be like clutches and they'll be like such and such high melanistic to a high yellow, and then they'll have like 1 or 2 animals that exhibit it, and then the rest of them look like regular ass green tree pythons, but they all want like $2,000-$3,000 for these animals
because they carry the lineage.
But there's the thing is the lineage technically is like it's faulty.
Because I'm gonna stop you. This is why I'm not into morphs at all.
It's you, and
I can tell you, all my animals, I choose the animals because evolution made these animals look the way they do for over millions of years.
For specific reasons.
Adapt to a part of the world and the ecosystem to function for a specific way. Right. Why the fuck? Sorry.
Hey,
why would you want to ruin that? It's amazing.
Yeah, to me, I said the same thing. I don't remember who I was talking to or what show I was on. And I was just like, look, bro, I don't care, like how they feel, how they think about it. Like the green tree python for me is a special snake.
Yeah.
It's one of the animals, like the Presa Canario. It's one of the animals that I have a great deal of time with. And I don't think there's too many people that know more about that animal than me. That's just how I feel about it. That's just how I feel.
You're so humble.
But when I talk to these guys, they're not saying the same things that I'm saying. And they're not, like I'm talking like when I go look for a puppy, right? I'm looking at head shape, weight, length, all of that. When I go look for green tree pythons, I'm looking for the same thing because there's different head shapes, there's different lengths, there, you know what I mean? And so I'm looking at that. Like, I don't like green tree pythons that have more of the rounded head, or like the Beax have those bulbous, like globes on the back. I don't like that. So I'm specifically looking, and I want to continue to produce that look over and reproduce it over and over and over. That's a bloodline. So that animal is very, very special to me because of exactly how it looks. Now, I was told all the green tree python lore and lies coming up, and then as I got older and went over there and started to find out and reading, like, you know, most of that stuff's not even true. But you know, with that animal, man, it's beautiful in its own right, and so. And don't get me wrong, a black green tree python, well, that looks awesome. I've never said that it doesn't. But the bigger picture is you have pushed all this melanin, this extra melanin into this animal and pushed out what it already had in there. And that's why that animal didn't live past 4 years. So that defeats they're killing their own programs. That's why all that, come on, think about it. How many people have an animal like that? Nobody. How many people have albino green tree pythons that have been trying to make this snake for 30 years?
Where are they?
How many? Yeah, how many? It's like, but albinism, it's a genetic deficiency. Why do you want to breed an unhealthy animal on purpose? If you get one, hey, if you breed your blackhead pythons and you get an albino, great. I know you're not shooting for that, but it's something that can happen, and it can happen.
I'm gonna sell it.
Right.
Quick.
Immediately. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that can happen for multiple reasons. You know, it can be it could be a lack of copper.
We have the melanistic, the leucistic, the hypos, everything.
You know, but you want to take an animal and flip the entirety of it.
Yeah.
So how do I call it a green tree python if it's black now?
It's there in the name, right?
I mean? It's like, I got to get my lighting right in here.
Yeah.
Let's see. It sucks in this room. But yeah, it's like, I don't get that, bro. It's like, how, I mean, I see a green tree python and the way they are, and I'm just like, man, this thing is amazing. You know, it doesn't need anything else. But, you know, like designer, I'm only into the designers. Like, and I saw some guy do a podcast the other day. I never heard of this guy a day in my life, and I could tell, like, he wasn't very confident in what he was saying. He was talking about green tree pythons, and he said that a designer is 4 or more animals. And I'm like, well, that is a designer, but that's not just a designer. And I'm like, no, anything they put together, they say is designer. And I would think, like, yeah, like it's just like if we were going to make our own breed of dog, right? We're going to make our own breed of dog. You get 2 dogs, you get a Rottweiler and a Doberman, I get a Rottweiler and a Doberman. We breed them, you breed yours, I breed mine, right? So the initial crossing or hybridization of the 2 breeds. So now we have to take those puppies and breed your puppies with my puppies in order to get a consistent, you know, specimen to say, is this going to work? How are we going to do the standard for this dog? Because you can't, you know, you have to see the dog, you have to have it and then write the standard as well, like, because you're writing it based on the Rottweiler, based on the Doberman, but then understanding that you put these 2 dogs together. And so, but you're looking for something from both of them and something new as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't happen overnight. We can't breed 2 dogs together right now and be like, yeah, we got to breed a dog. They'll laugh at us. We will be talked about on every major canine podcast. Like, look at these 2 idiots right here.
Mm.
You know, so
we need idiots. We need them as well. Otherwise, we're good people. You need losers to have winners, right? Or
exactly. I always said that everybody has to have. You do that, so I don't have to.
Exactly. You do you. Go ahead.
But
I'm even rooting for you.
it's interesting with animals, bro, but especially with exotics because it's a niche already. And
I fucking hate this world, if I'm honest with you.
Right, it's a niche, and people look at it and they already are like frowning upon you because you want to keep these animals. But at the same time, those same people will frown on you. It's like, well, Brad, are you doing any conservation projects, or are you just like being an asshole about us keeping animals in captivity? I was like, listen, I am 1,000% that animals should be in the wild. I have never not said that. But I'm also 1,000% that humans are destroying the planet. So what do you want? What do you want? Look at Borneo. Borneo is going through a mass deforestation. Look at Madagascar, mass deforestation. Parts of Africa, mass deforestation. Indonesia, like the United States dumps like 50 million tons of trash in Indonesia every year. You don't believe? I tell people, don't believe me? Go, I can send you the documentary. It's in Indonesia, and the trash comes from North and South America. So all the trash, our trash, gets dumped over there.
All the people that loves Nutella. Palm oil.
Palm oil. Clove, cigarettes. Those exactly. and because those outside of exotic animals are their major import and exports. You know what I mean? Like to the point where they have the Indonesian government has displaced a lot of the Aboriginal tribes, push them back into the jungle so that they can get into those land, to either do harvesting for palm oil, clove, or animals. So
and if we don't have that, we have the global warming. If you believe.
These are, you don't know. It's AI. Everything's AI, bro. So
I mean, and then we have, you name it, everything. Or we have invasive species because people want to bring over shit and they don't think about the consequences. So what are we going to do? I would love for the world to be, like you said, everything should be wild. Leave it out in the woods. I would love that. Nothing more.
Right. No,
I would. Pythons, fucking cane toads, man. All of Australia.
Everywhere. But, and that's the thing is, what's so funny is, like, Dylan just did a podcast, and the one guy from Artie's, and they were talking about the cats being a problem. And cats are a problem, for sure.
Yeah.
But I ain't never seen a cat, a toad, a Burmese python, a green tree python waiting for me. Waiting where I'm waiting in customs with passports trying to come over here on their own. Who wanted the cats? And that was what I told Artie in the thing. I'm like, bro, I hear what you're saying, but who wants the cats? Who wants the snakes? Who wants the frogs? Who wants the dogs? We do.
People.
I said, so at the end of the day, the cats are not the problem.
And then if you're going to do a conservation program and reintroduce them into the wild, you're going to fuck up the ecosystem anyway.
And that's another thing is like,
because of the predators and fucking,
Everybody, you can't just put shit back in the wild like that, bro. It's gotta, it's a like you said, it's a process.
What are they going to eat?
And that's what the whole conservation thing is set. That's why it's supposed to be set up differently. No conservationist should be grabbing animals from a hobbyist.
Nope.
Because you've got decades of inbred generational animals that have grown up in tubs that, maybe they might be able to fend for themselves to an extent, but like you said, how long are those animals really going to last out there? It's like this.
It's Tuesday. Where's my rat?
Well, that too is a problem. The weekly feedings, because wild animals don't eat every 7 days.
I've never fed my animals weekly.
No, bro.
I've never had a schedule.
Yeah, ever. Here it's random. You can get fed anywhere here from 2 to 4 times a month. And it could be, you could get fed twice in a week, nothing for 3 weeks. And then on that last week, bro, that's how I do it.
Fast them for like 2 months. And it's like,
Yeah, because that's what happens in the wild. And that's how I've always done. Like, I'm very hands-off with my animals. I've always said that. Like, I got a monitor here. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it'd be great if he'd come out and do what the other people's do, but I could care less.
The couch.
Yeah, that's great. I would love that. But if he never does it, that's great too. You know what I mean? Now I have larger pythons here, scrubs, so I do want to be able to, get in there and clean them and things like that. So at some point in time, like I handle them to make things easier for me. I also have venomous snakes here as well. So I have to keep all of that in mind. But I think when we were just saying, like with the whole like,
do you feed in the enclosures?
For the most part, yes. I'd say 90% of the time they're getting fed in the enclosure. I think one of the only
are your animals becoming more aggressive because you do? I mean, mine aren't.
I would say no.
No.
I have had animals that have become more cage aggressive as I fed them in there, and then I've had some like my cobra. He's been with me for 3 years. He's 90% of the time he's been fed in that cage.
It's also a fucking cobra. So,
but right, he's extremely intelligent. And he's coming up on 4 years with me. So ultimately, I probably could literally be letting him roam around the house and be okay at this point.
Should you though?
But right, of course, yeah. Should you though is the question.
Just checking.
But there's times like where to make it easier for me when I have to get in there and clean. Like if he's like already out and I'll open it, he'll usually just come right out, bro. He'll just go right past me. You know what I mean? And he'll go right past me, and generally he'll go hide behind one of the enclosures, or I'll just leave the closet open, and he'll go right in the closet, and I'll just close the door and lock it. And then when I'm, I'll do my thing, and then when I'm done, I'll go get him. And it's almost sometimes easier for me to let him do that than to try to put him in the tub, in the separation tub. But like you said,
whatever works, right?
Right. But then I got like green tree python, not here, but I've had green tree pythons that try to, you can't get in there. Yeah. No matter what time of the day it is. Yeah. They're trying to bite you for whatever reason because they've been fed in the cage. And they could also just be aggressive.
It's individual. I mean,
that's what I was going to say.
Some people are just grumpier than others.
Every snake is different. Every animal is different, and I don't think that I don't think we're talking about that enough, or if at all. Like, I mean, you think about all the podcasts you've talked about.
Fuck. Yeah, it's nighttime now.
You think about all the podcasts you've heard or you might have been on, and
I'm going to turn on the light. Wait one
second. Go ahead. Yeah, go.
I barely had any lights to turn on, but yeah, this works.
So I don't think that we're really giving these animals as a whole, humans are giving them the credit. That maybe we will sit and have a conversation about it, or a couple other people may be talking, but as a whole, I don't think that we realize, like, we may talk, oh, this girl is she's such a sweetheart, but then at the end of the day, you hear generalizations about snakes. Oh, this one is, they're known to be like this, or, they're known to be like that, or and this, that, and the other. And so there's just so many holes in the reptile community, I think.
We're focusing on the wrong thing, I think.
That need to be filled right because they're focusing on the wrong things. Like you said, like, oh, I can't go on this podcast until I bred something. So a lot of people are just running to buy ball pythons, and they breed them really quickly, and then they go, and now they're on the podcast. And they're like, oh,
I'm a breeder.
I'm a breeder, right? Like, not really, dude. Like, no, not. Really? No, bro, listen. You should be, I think at this point in time, like right now, right? Mm-hmm. If I wanted to go buy an American Pit Bull Terrier, right? Mm-hmm. One, I'm only going to be looking for someone who has had the dog at least. At this point in my career, that's one of the other dogs that I'm extremely familiar with. So you've got to at least have had that dog for 3 decades. Your program has had to be going on for at least 3 decades, And when I sit and have this conversation with this person, like, it should like make my heart want to cry because of the passion and the stories, that he's telling me about his bloodline, because this is what he does. These are his dogs. Yeah. But those breeders, even in the canine world, are far and few between. But those are the guys who haven't had a litter in 5 or 6 years. Yep. You know what I mean? They haven't done this in a long time. And the only time they do, or the only reason they do, is when someone calls them with the same passion and was like, hey, man, I'd love to get a pit bull from you. Are you going to be doing any breedings? And they will literally put a breeding together specifically for you. Or you can call, there's a guy named Bo Haddon, right? in Florida. He breeds Presa Canario,
Okay.
Bo Haddon, and long-running program, decades in, right? All his stuff, we could say wild caught, but it was all imported from the Canary Islands. These are dogs, so I'm just saying wild caught as it's an import. It's all fresh stuff. Bo has like 30 or 40 dogs on his property, right? You could call Bo right now. All his dogs are the same price, right? $5,500, I think. $5,500 is the price. He doesn't ship unless it's overseas. And I think even then you still might have to fly here to get the dog and for it to go back, or they send like a nanny with the dog. Like, he's not fucking around. And so, and you don't get to pick your dog. That's something that I do. Like, if you buy a dog from me, you don't pick the dog. I pick the dog for you based off what you told me. So if you call him and you say, I need this, 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 and this. If he doesn't have it on the ground, he will go and get the 2 dogs that he needs to make that dog for you. And have a litter for you, for Jacob, to have a Presa Canario. That specifically what it's asked for, just for client satisfaction. How many reptile breeders can you
name one?
Yeah. How many can we go to 30, 40 years for a green tree python, red-tailed boa? And we're not talking about that morph stuff. We're talking about straight wild type lines where I can call and say, hey man, I really like the Bellum Brazilian rainbow boas, and I heard that you had the best. Everybody in the reptile world, they just say they have the best. In the dog world, the horse world, the pig world, the cat world, the rabbit world, the bird world, you have to go to a show and prove that you have the best.
Yep.
You can't just say that you have.
Weren't you talking about like beauty pageants or something a while back?
It was something, bro. It was something that I wanted to bring into the rep, because they do it in Indonesia. In Indonesia, like every I think they do it twice a year. And actually, Dan Malari had hosted one of the shows. But I witnessed this, and that's the first time I'd ever seen it. In 2013, and in Jakarta, they had a reptile show over there. And, people would come in with their monitors and their snakes, and, they would judge them, and then the winner would get a prize. And you know what I mean? And like, so in my mind, I'm like, if I could take that and lay that on top of like the dog shows, but with the reptiles, since you have all these people, with social media coming in, this, that, and the other. But, the whole thing behind that was to get more exposure out. You have reptile expos, right? You guys have expos and stuff over there, but you go to the expo, right? And the expo is what? Buy, sell, and trade, right? That's it. And so if we had like a dog show, but for reptiles and amphibians, like where everyone would go and gather, and then all the best breeders would come down and show their animals, and we would all sit and observe. Because see, the purpose of a dog show, well, 2 purposes. One was for rich friends with their dogs to get together. But that was one purpose.
Apart from that.
Right. But the other purpose of it was for other breeders to come to the show and say, I need a new dog. I need to get another boxer. Or I need to get another beagle. Or I need to get another Spitz for my bloodline. So let's see. So they go to the breed club shows, and they watch the Spitz or whatever the breed is, and then they start, paying attention to kennels. That's the same thing we should be doing with reptiles, I think.
With dogs, aren't they used to the beauty standards that people set? And then they cut ears and they do shit like that?
In certain countries where it's allowed, yes, the standard for sure. So that standard, and that's crazy because there's always a huge talk about this. The standards with dogs is because some people are like, oh, standards are for pussies, but the standards. I'm like, yeah, but you need the standard for the dog. The problem is like the show.
Is it because of the beauty of the dog, or is it because of the health?
That's one reason. They don't. So people who say that, they don't understand the show, right? Okay. The show is, like I said, it's an observation. Yeah. The dog that you take to the show is supposed to be your best and most well-groomed dog. He's supposed to represent the animal in its raw form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
You
an
wouldn't
alpha individual
right.
of the species.
I can't bring, let's say I got my dogs actively run hogs, right? I can't bring an active working hog dog to a dog show. It's not going to be a good show.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, that motherfucker's going to be going crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing the dog that exhibits the standard and is showing you like this is the color, this is the physique, the temperament. But you know, the whole point is like we talk about standard, physique, size, health. How many breeders talk about that in the reptile community? It's like I don't people talking about like, let's say like you have a clutch of ball pythons where they just sell them. You know, there's not like they don't know anything about the 20 snakes that they just hatched out. They just put them on the line and they sell them. Whereas if I buy a dog from you or a cat or a bird, like I have 7 of them, I'm going to know. I'm going to be like, Jacob, I know you said you wanted this one. And this is why you good breeders don't let you pick the puppies. Because if I let all those dogs out, right? If you come to my house and I let all the puppies run out, you're going to be like, oh my God, you're going to forget that you wanted a good guard dog. Because you're going to be like, man, that one looks really good. I like that one. Right?
Beautiful. Visually. Cute. Yeah.
Right. And so if I give you that dog, if I allow you to take that dog all the way back to Sweden with you, you're going to call me in 6 months like, bro, he's not doing this. He's not doing that. At that point, it's really not your fault anymore. It's my fault because I knew or I should have known better. But if I don't know my animals, then I won't know better. And if you don't spend time with your animals, it's like if I were to breed anything, I know. So I have a litter. I'm going to automatically, the last litter that I had, like 3 of those puppies, they couldn't go anywhere. You know, they had to be cold. That is how breeding goes. You know what I mean? Like, so if I sell you something and then it's not what it's supposed to be, that's my reputation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, just not going to do it. But in the reptile world, we don't really have that because your reputation is built off of your social media page and like how many podcasts you might have been on and if you bred a specific snake or not.
Yeah.
So, but then we have people like yourself who will spend like a week doing one enclosure, and we have guys over here that'll spend a
year, man.
Yeah, or more. Like, the guys over here will buy it. You'll do a giant enclosure for a fucking children's python, and it makes me want to like I want to live it. Fuck, I'm gonna send my snakes over there just so they can live in there with the children's python. Like that's how good it looks. But
how can you say that you love animals and then give them a shitty home?
But then you see someone spend $20,000 on a Bolin's or a nice scrub, and then they'll throw it in.
Put him in a rack.
Yeah, they put it in a rack.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Yeah. But it's the same as like guys who buy dogs and then the dogs live in the kennel like 80%, 90% of the time.
That's fucking animal cruelty.
Well, like I got a guard dog. How is he going to guard me in the backyard in the kennel?
Yeah, who is he gonna get?
Right. So, like, even then, I like you said, the passion's gone, bro. It's at this point, it's just like I'm gonna get this animal because it looks cool. Like, I know people that got snakes and they're scared to feed them.
Yeah, I know a few of those as well.
You got snakes, but they're scared to feed them.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing that I want to with my snakes, if I just want to present them, the way they should be presented, the natural habitat, like how are they, the natural behavior of the animals, but in an enclosed environment.
Right.
Like, why is this animal cool besides looking cool? Because they do cool shit as well.
Right, and they can't do it in the tub. You know, right? They can't.
How?
Exactly. That's always been my thing.
Is like aspen with a fucking vertical stick made of PVC. How is it going to do anything?
Yeah, for quarantine purposes, all that shit is great. And don't get me wrong. Maybe I've had animals that have come in, and they're normally actually. I'll be honest with you. Most of the animals that I come in that I have trouble with are the captive bred. Like when it comes to green tree pythons, the ones that I have the most trouble with are all that CB, that US CBB shit. all the wild caught stuff that I get come in. Maybe I'm just like so used to, because everything I have is wild caught, and that's what I prefer, only because of what we just described doesn't exist. Because I can't call so-and-so and get a real, in my opinion, and then actually, you know what? Let me not say that. It's not in my opinion. In breeding standards, a real line-bred green tree python. I don't want an inbred, line-bred green tree python. I just want a line-bred. That's not the same thing.
A healthy-looking, solid green tree python.
Right, yeah. and that's the other thing.
They're supposed to look.
Right, and it's I not in the 90s, bro. I just never thought we would be here, and I don't think any one of us could have ever fathomed this.
I hope not.
But yeah, it's pretty bad when I talk to people and like, or actually, you know what? Let me say this, because this is before I forget, and you touched on this a little bit too. Indirectly, it's like going to get animals for what specific reason now? Like, I still do research. You know what I mean? Like, because I have to people, like I talk to you, I talk to other people who keep some of the same species that I have as well. Plus we talk all the time about builds. I'm like, oh, bro, you did it that way. I'm gonna try that next time. Like, so I'm always going to be doing research. But how do you research an animal? One, in an unnatural setting. For the most part, like I just don't see how that happens. And then two, I also don't think that people are understanding that they are changing the RNA, like the genetic makeup of these animals in captivity. I think they it's like they know it, but they don't really understand. It's like why your snake only wants to eat chicks. Because that's all you keep giving you gave your kid hamburgers its entire life, and now you're like, here's some chicken wings.
I don't like that.
Right. It doesn't matter how good those chicken wings probably are.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a hard time. Like, I don't know, man, just give me a burger. I'll just take a burger.
Yeah.
We don't realize, like, that's what we're doing to some of them. Like, you're even changing their experience, and then you're changing the experience that the buyer is supposed to have in captivity. Now, don't get me wrong. Captive breeding is captive breeding. We can't stop it. It is what it is. I think the problem, like, that frustrates me and you is, and other people, not just me and you, is there was never any set standards that came around to how, what, where, and why. Like when we talk about all the other animals that we mentioned, we have the answer. We have those questions, and we have the answers to them. Yeah. I mean, reptiles.
People like weird shit. People love to play God. People, because of the market thing, people like to, find the new cool things.
And
the new morphs. The first morph is always super expensive. You can always make money out of it. And
for the first 2-3 years, yeah.
Yeah, they want to obscure the weird shit. So they forgot about what the animals are supposed to look like. So now we want womas with blackheads, and then we want blackheads with orange heads. It's like, why would you want that?
Well, and that's the thing, is like, and then the price gouging and things like that. As an importer, exporter, I know that these animals cost like $5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's no exaggeration.
Because it's like a kid running out into the woods getting changes. A local animal.
Exactly. Yeah, the price changes. Like, so you got trap price, then you've got trap price, farm price, wholesale price, retail price. Then you might even have a broker list. So you got guys like me who have brokers. So like 5 times, but generally 4 times that animal has changed prices. And it's like, oh, I would love a black arboreal python, like a green tree python, if it was black. But they got one of those already. So why not just buy? Oh, that's because it's $20,000. A Boland's is an arboreal python, much like it's not the same species, but at one time they thought that it was. But regardless, it is an arboreal black snake.
Yeah.
Similar. So there you go.
Instead of getting the animals that actually exist, you want to fuck up the ones.
It's like. Wow. I know now, like, Nerd is talking about, like, making some species of large monitor smaller.
Can we not talk about Kevin?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why do we want to do that? bro. Like we already have quince monitors and blue tail monitors that are and green tree monitors that are smaller.
Yeah, Caudalis and all of that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like we're not as I think that's just like the human psyche. It's like have to play God no matter what.
Yep.
Because then
we're on the top of the food chain,
Right. Is it smaller?
We invented the food chain and then we put ourselves on top of it.
Right. But yeah, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, bro, like so basically nobody gives a shit about these animals anymore. That's what I'm seeing.
No.
Like the only recent like kind of like breakthrough that I've seen is I think her name is Shira Lowe. I've never pronounced her name properly, but talking about using reptiles for therapy, and I feel like
I follow her. We talk a lot, and she does a great job.
And I feel like at this point in time, I mean, better late than never. But I feel like at this point in time, the animal should definitely have a few other things because obviously these animals can't guard our house and they can't go fetch and they can't go catch hogs and do things like that. The snakes can't. But I am seeing people using monitors over here to catch weasels and rats, and they're training them, to do these things.
Really?
So yeah, so we're showing that these animals have a higher brain capacity than what we are even giving them credit for. Like,
I mean, they have survived for a few million years,
exactly.
So I mean,
but I think people think like, I mean, I've heard Stephen Cush say how dumb green tree pythons are, and I'm like, bro, first of all, you don't know shit about animals at all. No dumb animal lives very long. Any animal that's dumb, we don't know about it because it's already gone. The last dumb animal we had on this planet was the dodo bird, and it's gone.
But why is it gone?
Like nothing, even dumb humans, nothing dumb does very well.
Didn't we kill the dodo birds?
I think so because they would just sit there. Yeah, they would just sit there and look at us like.
Yeah. Because they didn't have any natural predators.
Yeah, they no natural predators. They had, and really, we can't even say that that's dumb. That was just a lack. It's ignorant. It's an animal that's ignorant, and that was one of the points I wanted to make about when you're talking about releasing animals that we've been producing for decades in captivity into the wild. It's like you live in the city or the town where you live in, just like I do. So I know what goes on around here. I know who's who. I know who to stay away from. I know who's got the cheapest gas, the best blunts, or this, that, and the other, just like in your town, right? But we're taking an animal from captivity that doesn't know any other animals. This animal doesn't know what another snake looks like, doesn't know what birds look like, doesn't know any of the animals that it should be avoiding because that hardwire through the RNA system that it would normally get from being in the wild is gone. So where it would normally maybe
I think we have some basic instincts, but
for sure.
I don't think it's enough.
No. I think you can see it, like you said, the basic instincts, you can see it even, it's dwindling down, even in some of the animals. Like, dude, I had a monocle cobra, and I ultimately believe that this was because this animal was a morph. It was a diamond line. It was inbred over decades. It was the first venomous snake I ever had. I've never seen an animal do anything like this before. And I talked to my other friend who's a biologist about it, and we agreed.
What did it do?
So I got the snake, right, and did some really weird things. One, the first thing that I noticed is it would never eat live mice, ever. Live nothing. Didn't want to have anything to do with it under any circumstances at all. As soon as I would take that mouse, stun it, throw it back in there, it was like piranhas. Same fucking mouse. Same mouse. But so yeah, the snake embarrassed me. Like I told the story. My friend come over. You're like recording
like a fucking snake.
Yeah, he's like recording. He's like, bro, you got the deadliest animal in the world, and you got a hand feed it on a plate. He's like, I ain't even gonna save this video. Like delete. So that was weird, and it never I tried it again. Never. It was like almost terrified in the way of live mice or live food. It never been around it. Then another odd thing, it didn't like, they say that snakes are deaf and things like, but listen, there's a lot of, I'm sure you know it as well, there's a lot of generalizations about snakes. You know, someone could say something one time about a species and then generalize 3 words later. Well, goddamn, bro, that doesn't either they are or they aren't, or we don't really know. And I think we really don't know.
Yeah, most likely.
But, you know, this snake, and don't get me wrong, energy, you know, animals are definitely way more in tune to energy than your average human is.
Definitely.
But, you know, I was dating this woman at the time, and she'd come over, and the snake only did this when women came over. Like, it didn't like women, and it was a female. It hated women. Albino monocle cobra. Anytime women would come over to see me, it would come out of the hide immediately, hood up, and just hiss until they left. But when my homeboys would come over, they could barely see the snake. They're like, bro, is it even still in there? Like, I don't even see it. One guy was like, what is it, a Burmese python?
Is it a pheromone-based thing? Or?
It may be, you know, maybe in the air. It could be a little bit of that. Maybe her voice, but like I said, they say snakes are deaf. But I've also heard that snakes are blind as a bat. Most species of snakes can't see this, that, and the other. And I'm like, bro, I never believed that. I've heard people, you know, snakes have poor eyesight, and that I said maybe some species of snakes have poor eyesight when compared to others. But what are we comparing a snake's eyesight to?
Yeah, who is better? They're just adapted differently to a different lifestyle.
Yeah, like what are we comparing the eyesight to? Because
have you seen infrared?
Right. Well, here's the other thing. We say that birds have great eyesight, right? Birds have some of the best eyesight on the planet.
Yeah.
Well, they say that birds and reptiles are directly related. So shouldn't the reptiles have the same? I would think they would have the same great eyesight. Don't get me wrong. I understand that birds are flying and they got to look down, but reptiles are doing a lot more shit than birds because they're not flying. Actually, some of them fly too. So
they're eating bats from fucking cave ceilings.
I see them hanging out the mouths of caves at night. Like, you know what I mean? Then you have.
That's the thing. You ask one question. People have the generalization. They have the information, the facts, and then you ask one follow-up question, and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's generally what happens. It's like
question the information, question the facts.
Yeah, because I like these snail eaters that I have. They have changed my entire perspective about snakes.
Yeah,
like
or how to keep snails.
That Look, I am the snail master, bro. I am the snail master now.
I remember you telling me, it's like, I have 250 fucking
snails. I know, right? Bro, the only thing that knows more about snails and slugs than me are snails and slugs, damn it.
The French chefs.
But they've changed my whole way of looking at snakes, bro. Like, these are probably these have to be scrubs. I know you've had scrubs, so I know you might be able to attest to this. Or Amazon pythons. I think only over here they call them scrubs.
Yeah.
But the Amazon python, I know that you've had. But cobras, I know you have not had, but you may have been around them. I compare scrubs and cobras' level of intelligence on the same level, personally. Super intelligent, like, you know, like calculating, learning your routines, you know, all of that. And then when I got these snakes in, like, these things were like, it's almost like a person in a human body, bro. Like, I've never had a snake do some of the things that these things have done. And I've talked to my friends about it. And I'm like, bro, I ain't never seen this shit. Like, I have, like, opening up the tubs when I get them in for quarantine, like, open up the tubs, bro. And they will, like, come. The vibrations, they will come from under the leaves where they're hiding. Like, come to me. Like, not like, you know, like some snakes, once they feel the air, they're like, oh, it's time to escape. Yeah. You know, they're not coming to you. They're trying to get the fuck out. You know, like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, man, no. These animals, they come to you. Like, and I've seen other people's snakes do that, but these are generally snakes that people have had for quite some time.
Yeah, and handled, and they know the smells.
For quite some time. Man, these snakes, you know, none of those snakes pulling off these situations that I'm talking about. I'd had for more than like just days at a time. You know, like
Like a dog.
almost like a
Like,
dog.
happy to see you.
Yeah, not finicky eaters at all, like eating no matter what, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Not stalling out like for like a week or so, you know, day or nighttime, like they don't care. But I mean, I've been holding these snakes and then I'll start like, and I'll be filming and I'll start talking and the snake will literally like turn all the way around and just look at me and just stop. I haven't had too many snakes do that, bro. I swear. I'm gonna try. I was telling Dylan that too. I was like, bro, I have never seen this. I was like, they're not as slow moving as you think. Like it's steady, you know what I mean? But they're not slow. And these things are their eyesight has to be some of the best. It has to be some of the best. And their eyes are crazy, bro. They look like, you know how quail eggs look? Their eyes look like quail eggs. It's crazy. But yeah,
do you believe that different animals are adapted to different vibration frequencies because of how they live in the wild?
For sure. Because my South American snail eater, she only recently started coming to me. And I've had her longer than any of the other snail eaters. I've had her for going on about a year now.
How are the snail eaters catching their prey?
Oh man, is it
based on smell or sight or
it's everything, bro. It's
vibration.
Yeah, it's smell and sight. So for the South American one, I have like this. I would love to get more of these, and I don't know if it's this individual animal because I've only ever had one, and anyone that I know that has had Cybin, which is only 2 other people, they only use live. But mine will take. I can put frozen thawed snails in a little glass bowl. And she'll come and get them, or she'll eat. So I thought I was like pulling something off. I thought I was like coming up with something.
Look at this.
I thought I was doing something.
Like
taking the snails out. Like I put my gloves on, take the snails out, and I put the snail on my glove, and then I put my hand in there, and I would just like move it. And once she would track on it, she would follow it, but she would just snatch it really quickly and just like take it and be gone. And so I was like, I wonder if she'll just take them if I just put it in a bowl. So I did. And I was like, great, because that's going to save me a lot in the wintertime when I can't get snails like right now. So not that I can't, it's just harder. But it's like when that snail moves, the snake moves. But it's all about it's all precision with them, bro. It's not like, you know, we've seen plenty of animals eat. You know, and they're like, and then they get closer and they get closer, and then they'll just grab it. Sometimes it could be a grab on the face, on the neck, on the back, and for a live animal. Generally, like you see a lot of them getting grabbed here, like in the torsos. But this animal is extremely precise, and maybe because snails are a lot stronger than you think in those shells.
If you miss, they're gonna get sucked up back into the shell, and then you lose your shell.
I fed my Cybin one night, and then the next morning, like 14 hours later, I came back in, and she was still wrestling with a snail. Oh, bro, they're determined. They don't stop. It's all brute force with these snakes, bro. They're like, they lock in. Once they see it, and that's it. They come in, they go, and then they just zero in, grab, suck the snail out, or if it's a slug or whatever. But it's all visual with them. But they're extremely intelligent, bro. I've just never seen anything like this. Like their movements, it's almost like watching, like when you're thinking about like how robots move, and you watch stuff, like you watch a movie and the robots are like moving and interacting. Like that's how they are, and they're like interacting.
Like they're programmed.
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
No other snakes I have do shit like that.
Cool.
Like, and that's only the Aplopeltura. My Piraeus didn't do that. My Cybins don't do that. They don't do that at all. My Cybin, I barely see her because she's not really arboreal, even though they consider it to be an arboreal species, but it's not arboreal. Because, I don't know, you tell me, this snake lives on the ground all day long. All day long is hiding and doesn't necessarily have to go in the trees to eat. Wherever it catches snails, and then immediately after it catches the snails, it goes back to the ground, and it doesn't have a prehensile tail. That doesn't sound very
Sounds arboreal to me.
right. It doesn't even sound arboreal.
No.
So,
No.
but yeah, she's a weird one. But the Alplopopertas, man, they're very interesting, bro. Like I said, I've told a bunch of people that, and I say that not to say like go out and start ordering a bunch of these snakes because they'll drop dead on you. I just got 4 in. One of them died this morning.
No.
I got another one that's going to die.
You know why?
I don't know why exactly, but I have seen and had enough of them that I can tell when they're not going to make it.
Okay.
But I think it's also another thing with snakes as well, because I've seen, I remember I did an import one time and like half that shit didn't make it. And so I started learning young. Like, when you start seeing snakes and their scales are kind of like frayed, or in a way, if that makes sense. It looks like their scales might be peeling off. Have you ever noticed that? Like on 6 snakes or scales, they just look like very weak, like they're almost shedding off. Like it's a telltale sign that there's something wrong with an animal. I don't know if you probably have seen it. I'm just not describing it right.
Maybe.
But yeah, you can just.
I think I've been lucky.
It's or it's like, think about like if you see like someone who's homeless, and fuck, you live in Sweden, bro. Y'all even have homeless people over there? It's like
we're all wealthy over here.
Right. He's like, we had 2, but now they all live in mansions. So no.
Yeah, exactly. No, the government took care of those.
But yeah, it's all okay. Think about when you peel, like when you have like a sticker and it has the other paper on the back that you peel away from.
All right.
So that you can take that part off so it doesn't stick. So sometimes, like when you see snakes and their scales kind of look like they're peeling away like that, it's a telltale sign that they've got some type of bacteria or there's something wrong with them. Like I can 100% of the snakes that I've had come in the entire time I've been doing this that have come in like that, they either didn't make it, like within the first week they were gone, or within 2 months they, because back then I didn't know what the fuck was going on. We didn't a lot of this stuff you couldn't treat for, you didn't know what it was. Finding an exotic animal vet in the 90s was crazy. Yeah. So, a lot of the shit you just have to just watch it die. But yeah, I got those 2 in, those 4 in. Then like immediately I picked one up. I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna make it. And then the other one, I'm like, probably not gonna make it. So the other one, like I said, died this morning. But all that stuff gets sent to the herpetology museum that my friend runs in Texas. So he'll do like brains. So he will find out why, what happened for me.
Cool. Let me know.
So I will.
Yeah, cool.
So what's next for you though, bro? Are you getting anything new, or anything that you haven't gotten that you want to get?
Right now, I'm in the position that I'm very happy with the animals that I keep. There's been a back and forth with buying, selling, trying to find your species that you want to work with.
Right. I'm
not a fan of that whole thing, buying, selling, but how else are you going to know?
For sure.
Right now I'm super happy with the animals that I have. Right. So I just want to upgrade. I want to take care of them the best way that I can, and probably improve my game even more.
Well, you've got what, like 3-4 green trees over there?
I sold all the green trees.
Really? I was going to say you kept them, bro.
They were not for me, man. I did the whole. I need like a whole episode with Dillian about how much I hate green tree pythons, and then after that, I got 4 of them. I was like,
it's. I'll say like green trees are. I think I don't keep green trees anymore, and maybe this might be the same thing that happened with you. Is like they're beautiful snakes. They're awesome. Some of the some of the most spectacular snakes. But
so iconic with the green snake.
Right.
Yeah.
But the lack of stimulation between species.
Yeah, that's the thing. And there's no activity.
Yeah.
And the thing that you get once it is active, it's the little tail.
Right. See, like even with my scrubs,
then you feed them, and then it's gone.
Yeah, scrubs do more than green trees, which is and I kept green trees for fucking 15, 16 years, you know, like
I
straight,
could
nothing
never.
else. You know what I mean? So I got burnt out on them. Like, you know, my 14, 15, 16th year is when I started like calling all my homies up, like, yo, bro, I'm about to start letting these green trees go. You know, I had like 43 at the time. I had a ton, bro. Like, this is just what I ended with. In that 16 years, I probably had over 600 of those snakes. Because I was just obsessed with it. I didn't want any, you know, it's like me with like when I with the pit bull, only pit bulls. When I got hip to the Pressa, only Pressas. You know, like I'm one of those like
a period person.
Yeah, I'm a specialist guy. You know what I mean? Like I like to
I like this now.
Right. I won't you know, you'll come in and you'll see like, oh, I got different stuff, but then you're gonna notice like, bro, he's got like 20 of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the green tree python kind of helped me figure out what I liked, because I do love green tree pythons, and I would love to have a pair of green tree pythons right now. Not that I couldn't, because you know it's not hard to get them, but I wanted something that's a little bit bigger, but not too big, but something that's also arboreal, and it's something that's a little bit more stimulating. And this, I think, for me personally, the Amistine python is perfect for that.
I love them. I love scrubs. They're incredible. I just don't have the space right now.
Yeah, if you don't have it, that's the thing about them, bro. Is they're huge. I mean, some of the island species are a tad bit smaller, but
you've seen what I want to make like for my Antaresias. That's the size that I want even for the scrubs. So I'm going to use like a 4 or 5 meter enclosure,
right,
for even the smaller ones.
So I mean, even a pair of Halmaheras in there would be awesome, because that.
Fucking Nautas would be incredible.
Yeah, even smaller, more space for them.
Yeah,
more space for them. Yeah, I put in an order for some hounds, but a different locality than what normally comes over. If I'll get them or not, I don't know. But I've asked about them. I don't really have space. Like I need to be doing an 8x3x3 for my forest cobra. And then
that's a big enclosure.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it probably should be like an 8x3x4, but I think the 3 length and the 3 width and the height will be good. And with the length, I can't go any longer than 8 feet, because the wall that side that is literally the length of the wall. So it's going to be like a tad bit smaller than 8 feet, but just enough to get in there so I can pull it in and out. Yep. But yeah, he's got to go in there because he's pushing 10 feet, bro, and he's in a 6x2x2, and it's not. Yeah, no, he needs, because he likes to climb and stuff like that. It's crazy because I don't see I'm not gonna say everybody, but like Tom from Tom's Reptile, you know, like his cobras are in like these nice big enclosures, and some of the other people's are, but most people don't keep their forest cobras in big enclosures like that. Like there's space in there for him, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, and people are like, oh, well, they curl up really tightly. Like, yeah, they do, but still, bro. Like,
do you know how the big distances that snakes move in the wild?
Exactly.
Yeah. Can we at least try?
Exactly. And that's.
I know we can't, but
right. And people were crazy. They're like, bro, you let him out? Like, you let him run around? I'm like, I have to. What do you mean? Yeah. I don't. He's in a 6x2x2. Like, generally, he's a cobra, so he spends 70% of his day hiding. That's what cobras do. But the other 30%, they're all over the place. And I'm like, I do have to let him out some days. Some days, if it's
this is why I never want to have venomous snakes, because I want to be able to let the animals free roam, but I don't want to die.
Right. That's why I only have 2, because ideally I was supposed to have a room full of only forest cobras.
All right.
Probably a good thing that I'm not the most well-liked person, because that's the only reason
it won't help.
Like, yeah, bro, no, I'm not selling to you.
Yeah, no.
So, but I know, like, every time I go in there, like I feel bad. Like, so I'm like, damn, bro. Like, I was like, don't worry. Spring, I'm going to get you into a bigger enclosure. Like, I just, I was like, I'm already drawing up the plans, because I want you to have more space. Like, all my other animals have plenty of space. Like, my female scrub is in a 3x3x5 tall. It's a 5 tall. And then my Aru scrub is in a 4x2x5. And then my tree monitor is in a 6x2x2. And then my snail eater, one of my snail eaters is in a 3x3x2. It's just her. And then the other ones are in a 3x3x5. So they've got like these enormous spaces. And, I try to hit, every angle so that they can be all over the place.
Yeah.
But, with a 10-foot snake, it's just hard.
Yeah, it is.
But,
Yeah. I'm going into right now. I want to keep all of the snakes that I have right now, but I'm getting into some bolins eventually.
That's gonna take all your money, bro. And then if you get bold, are you gonna move to where are you gonna buy? Are you gonna get a backyard or something and do an addition to the house? Or
yeah, we'll see. The thing is, like, okay, so how you have the feeling that once you find your dream animals or your dream car or your dream house or dream travel destination or something, the expectations of getting there is usually better than actually getting there.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I have the bolins are like the top tier because they're amazing snakes and they're super expensive, super large.
Yeah, I don't know. The pricing on that is just...
it's fucked up. But it makes sense because of the importation laws or export laws from Indonesia and everything. But the high demand and Kevin fucked it up and everything. But
yeah, that's the problem. Is like Nerd. He's got that fucking. He's controlling.
Yeah. No, he's. But yeah, so I want to kind of get it for my 40th birthday present for myself. So there's no rush. I want to do it the right way.
Right.
I want to do it eventually, because everybody can just get money and get a snake.
Sure. Because they do. Most people do. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Once you get a little bit of cash, you're just like, yeah, I got the cool animals. Okay, but what do you know about the animal?
Well, these days are different, bro. It's like, and everybody's individual situation is different. But I talk to some of the younger guys, and they're like, man, they're extremely impulsive. They got this, they get this, they get that, and then 6 months later, the whole thing is flipped. They don't have any of those animals. They've got a whole new set of animals in there.
Everything's for sale.
Right.
Give the animals away.
And they're like, yeah, bro, you know how it is. And I'm like, actually, I don't know how it is.
Not this part.
When I was coming up, I was barely allowed to have this shit. So there was no way in hell that I could fight my people to get an animal and then say, I don't want that shit.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The feeling, of actually doing the research, building the enclosures, looking at the habitat pictures, and then actually saving up the money to go and buy these.
That's a process.
Yeah,
bro.
and it was exciting.
That's legwork, bro. And that's the thing. And that's what I was telling people, like, nah, bro, I had to be sure that's what I want, because I didn't have a ton of money. You know what I mean? And I had to make sure I had everything. And my people really wasn't that supportive of the shit. So yeah, I couldn't, like you said, I couldn't be like, yeah, I think I don't want that snake anymore. I'm gonna change my mind. I want to get this one. They would have been like,
I have this cash.
Yeah, they would have been like, boy, you ain't getting shit now. Shut the hell up. Go in your room.
Thing you have?
Yeah, they'd been like, shut up, go play video games. You just gave us the excuse you needed not to let you have any animals. You're not serious. So like, I had to know, like, I want that snake, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to get it. Even I get snakes I didn't know I had about. I had them and hide them in my closet and stuff like that. But I'll still
do this for myself. I put myself in this position. It's like I need to know what I'm taking care of.
Yeah.
Because I can just get the cash and go buy a snake. No problem at all.
Yeah.
But why am I getting it? Why this snake? What does it do? How does it work? How does it behave? What's the environment? I mean, that's exciting about these animals.
Well, that's why I got into it. I think we got into it for the same reasons. You know what I mean?
Well, sounds like it.
Yeah, like I talk to some of the people I talk to now, bro, and it's like a totally different. I'm like, you don't even like snakes.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
why are you here?
You don't even like snakes, bro. Like I can. Let me say, it's like everyone has their, like, oh, I like this. I really like this. I really love this. Like, don't get me wrong. I do too. But I could be happy with almost any snake you would bring me, from a garter snake to a gopher snake. Like, I'll be happy with it. You know what I mean? So I really like snakes.
Yeah.
But some of these people, they don't really like snakes, bro. It's like, and you can tell. And I'm just like, man, it's just a conversation that we're having lets me know. I'm like, bro, so you don't think like you got a problem with feeding your snake live animals? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to do that. But don't bash anyone else because they don't want to do it. I tell everybody flat the fuck out. You know why I started doing this shit? Because I wanted to see snakes kill shit. That's what I wanted to see. And I know a lot of other people. Hey, I know a lot of other people did too. They just don't want to say that shit openly. You know,
because it was cool.
Yeah, me, I don't have that problem. I think it is cool.
Badass, man. Oh wait, I do the same thing. You know, when you feed a chick and the blood comes out, I was like, oh, okay, it's so cool.
Right, for sure. No, look, anyone who says that they did not get into Reptile, that may not have been the only reason.
Is it a guy thing?
Right. No, I don't know. I know some girls too, so I think no, because I know some guys.
I don't know any.
Like, I'm gonna no frozen thawed. Like, I'm only using frozen thawed. And I'm just like, bro, like. Don't get me wrong. I have a freezer full of shit. Like, if you're going to give me a good deal on some frozen thawed, I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? But spring and summer around here, bro, we don't really use a lot of frozen thawed. That's for the winter. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that's for. And I don't feed heavy in the winter. But, yeah, like, I got into this shit to watch mice and rats and birds get the life strangled out of them. As fucked up as that may sound. That's what happens.
Well, it's nature.
I mean, right. It's nature, bro. That's what happens. Yeah. But I love animals. So that made it even better. You know what I mean? If snakes didn't do that, because all snakes don't do that. Like, they don't all constrict and, you know, some of them just eat fish and snails and, you know, so clearly no matter what, I still would have done it. But me, I could see a snake and be like, oh, man, that's cool. And then I see a snake catch a mouse. Like, holy shit, bro, I need that. Take my money.
Yeah, you know, when you see a snake in the wild, that's cool. When you see a snake catching something in the wild, it's legendary.
It's insane. You're like, oh my god,
it's snake. My whole camera, you know, on the phone is like 1,000 pictures of this common grass snake eating a toad.
Right, and that's awesome. I love to see it. And it was like, I remember when I was working at that pet store back in '88, one of the older guys there, he was like, man, I remember we were sitting there watching the red-tailed boa babies eat. It was crazy because he was like just throwing mice in there with them. And they were grabbing them like two at a time. Like, one would be eating one while it was strangling another one. Like, yeah. Like, I was like, that was like awesome to me. And he's just sitting there, and we're sitting there looking at it. And I'm on a step stool because I'm short now, and I was very short back then. So I'm on a step stool, and I'm like, and he's short too, but we're like the same height now.
Oh, so he goes like, oh, right. That is amazing.
And he's like, man, no matter how many times I've seen this, it still amazes me. Yeah. You know, like how they catch it, how they eat with no hands. And
they love feeding it.
And then I guess I said, and then I go, and no evidence. And he looks over at me and he's like, fucking right. I was like, yeah, but I don't leave nothing behind. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you have different generations of keepers. Just like you have different generations of everything. Like, I've worked with some older chefs and some younger chefs.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference between them. Some of that was in a good sense and some of it was in a bad sense. Like, man, you're a young guy, man, but you must have been around some real OGs in the game. You know what I mean? Like, that's great. But then I get around some older guys. Like, I'll tell you a funny story. I before I stopped cooking, I had got a offer to do a stage at the National Democratic Society. Like, they got like this like little house that they have here where all the Democrats, like all the politicians that are Democrat, they all go there and eat and have parties. And
all right.
I don't know what else they do in there. I know they made me sign an NDA in that motherfucker. But, so I remember I still have the email too. I get this email back and they were looking for a sous chef. And in the email, it says, what did it say? Oh, it said, I'm moving you. So there was 100 people that applied to be a chef there, right? And she's like, I'm bumping you to the top of the list, very, very first, number one. She says, and the reason why is because you have a reptile company. And I also had a reptile rescue at the time. And so this is the HR lady for the the National Democratic Society. That's what it's called. And she's like, yeah, I love reptiles. I'm obsessed with reptiles. And I was checking out your website and I love that you rescue animals. She's like, so that alone has bumped you up to the top of the fucking list.
Hell yeah.
So I go down there to Capitol Hill, right? I'm down there and I go in for the interview. And they didn't even ask me any questions about food. Like,
just the animals?
The whole time I just wanted to talk about dogs and snakes. The whole time, bro. The whole time.
Hell
now,
yeah.
I knew that I wasn't going to work there because I looked at the menu and I was like, hey, this bullshit. I was like, man, this seems like an old black bitter chef cooking this shit, right? That's what in my mind. That's what I'm saying.
You can tell from the menu.
Like, I don't want to work for this chef. Sometimes you can just, when you've done something long enough, you just fucking know.
Yep.
So eventually the chef comes down, right? And it's an old, bitter black dude.
Hold it.
He looks at me, I look at him, and I can see it in his eyes. Like, yeah, I'm not hiring you, buddy.
Nope.
And they didn't hire me either.
Nope.
But I didn't want to work there either. But no, me and him had like a 10-minute conversation. And once he saw that I was a better chef than him, he wasn't like that. But he's like, yeah, we'll call you. I'm like, yeah, sure you will.
Yeah.
But
don't call us. We'll call you.
It's just funny the impact of animals in, like, even in politics. And the reason I bring that up is even funny. Well, not funnier. It's funny, but not in a good way. Is, you know, like, we've had problems over here with big cats in the past. You know, the lions and tigers and people keeping those. You're not allowed to keep them anymore.
Oh, yeah, for the pet trade. Yeah.
Right. Well, for well over a decade, some of those guys, some of those people, less than kosher people, they bring tigers to D.C. for the politicians. So every year they try to ban these animals, including reptiles and things like that. So this is how you know, like, this is why I've said some things that I've said about U.S. Art, because I'm like, hell, at this point, I think they might just be working with the politicians to ban them, because I know that the big cat people, every time there's a bill against them, you know what they do? They get 2 or 3 tiger cubs and they take them to the White House and they take them to the Senate for the people to play with. And there's videos of this all online. They do this every year. Every year they get 2 tiger cubs and they bring them to Congress and to the White House, and everybody's allowed to come in and play with them, and then the bill never gets passed. I'm like, well, Phil, bro, you're supposed to be U.S. Art, nigga. You better start bringing some fucking snakes down there, getting them petted, because apparently, you know, a little bit of money and a little some pets go a long way. So, but that's you know, it's all right. It's just one big game, and
of course it is.
It's unfortunate that the animals, they can't speak for themselves, and we don't have enough of the right people speaking for them. In my opinion, you know,
it's just integrity. People know what's good and bad. People know what's right and wrong.
Right.
But we still don't.
But you think social media, I think, has skewed that, bro. I don't think people even care about right and wrong anymore. It's like animals have now become like it's like the thing to do for a lot of influencers now. Like, I know, like, the EU has a crazy problem with marmosets, with finger monkeys, you know, things like that. They're like, oh, they see one, they want one. Even here, there was 2 young girls. They were in Texas, bro. I think they were in a Walmart or somewhere like that, and they took their spider monkey to Walmart, and somebody else, a guest walking around in there, did something, and the monkey freaked out and got away from her. She didn't even have a leash on. It got away from her, and it's like up on this was like just 3 or 4 days ago. It was like up on the rafters and shit, this spider monkey.
People do anything to be famous these days.
So it's like, you know, and then if you saw this person, this person probably doesn't need to have a dog.
No.
You know, mind you, they got a spider monkey. You you know, and I know, yeah, I've had friends who've had spider monkeys and things. Like I said, like I have said this over, like I am guilty of some of this shit back in the day of bringing animals over here to be sold and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's where it started. You know, like I had to learn shit the hard way. You know, even getting over there doing that stuff because it started with big cats and primates for me. The reptile people, it's all cool and fun and games with them until you start asking them like how to import. Because they don't want you to know that green tree pythons cost $1.75 from the tree. They don't want you to know that. You fucking see lists in the 80s, like 80, 82, 83, 84, 85 green tree pythons on there, $25. Amazon basin tree boas, $35. Now they're $20. Bowling. Do you know how much bowlings used to cost like $500 back in the 90s? I didn't even know what the fuck a bowlings was in 1997.
No one did.
I saw them on the price list. I didn't know what they were though.
They were just boring. They were just black snakes. People liked color back then.
I hadn't read a Mark O'Shea book yet, so I didn't know anything about a Bolin's python. Because if I I guarantee you, if I knew what a Bolin's was back then, I would have been the asshole now. Like, well, you know, I was the first one to breed Bolin's pythons in the 80s, and I'm also the first black guy to breed Bolin's pythons back in the 90s.
Hell yeah.
Sipping my tea, you know.
Smoking a fat cigar.
But no, bro, I would have been like the Dean Ripper of Bolin's pythons. He got all those. He had like wall to wall, like 2 rooms, wall to wall, like Bushmaster snakes, like 300 fucking Bushmaster snakes, bro. But if I had known that, but like I said, I didn't know what those snakes were. There's a lot of like scrubs. I didn't really know what scrubs were back then, you know, and all that stuff was classified as Morelia too. Back then they didn't call it a Moluccan python. I still don't call it a Moluccan python. They call it a Saram python. And then all of a sudden it became the Moluccan python, which I don't understand. And then I know you like scrubs too. So it's like this. Let me ask you this, right? Logically. Because you live in Sweden, right?
Yep.
And I have other friends from Sweden, but they live on the island. Or one of the islands. They live on
Gotland.
Yeah. And so, but that is still Sweden, right? That's still Sweden. Okay. I just want the reason I'm saying that, because maybe I'm stupid. Because Halmahera is in the Moluccan island chain. Tanimbar is in the Moluccan island chain. Aru is in the Moluccan island chain. Ambom and Seram are also in the Moluccan island chain. Yet, the hobby only considers one of those to be a Moluccan python or a Moluccan python. How?
I never used the what do you mean? The popular names?
The popular names. Like, so if you look up, like, it's all the Moluccan is the Moluccan python. So Halmahera,
use the scientific name because it's scientific for a reason.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I was like, so that's why I was like, so just because that island isn't touching Sweden, it's still Sweden. So if you have 5 islands that are in the same range, that if you look up Moluccan Islands, every island that I just said will come up and it'll be mapped out for the Moluccan Islands. So if you have 5 Moluccan pythons, how is it you're only calling, and this just happened.
Just the Clastolepis.
The Clastolepis. Because from 96 to like 2010, that was a Seram python. And then it just became the Moluccan python. And I remember I got into a huge argument with the guy, and he's like, well, fuck you, bro. We're not friends anymore. And he unfriended me. I was like, so you're going to unfriend me because you're wrong? Like, bro, you're the one who doesn't even know what you're talking about. So, yeah, right.
Solid friendship.
Big deal. Like, that's crazy. You want to get mad at me for
how are you going to learn? If what? I would love to be wrong, because then you learn.
Right. And I'm like, bro, it's not even that big of a deal. It's just it's like a mishap, bro. Like, it's not that big of a deal when I'm telling you.
We didn't name them. Fucking chill.
Right. I said the hobby, bro. I said, look, I'm not a hobbyist. I'm not a reptile guy. I'm not a dog guy. I'm just a guy that fucks with animals. You know what I mean? Like, that's me. I'm like, bro, what you're doing is you're taking these industry standards literal. I said the industry standard has been calling a snake from Sunda, a Timor python, for 30 years. And the snake doesn't even exist on that island.
Yeah.
So I was like, bro, it's not. I was like, there's no reason. But if you don't want to be friends, that's fine. It's like, you know. But yeah, it's and so. But you know what I just said. Even though what I just said is totally true, I get shitted on for stuff like that. Like, well, that's crazy.
Why?
So basically, you motherfuckers are out here just doing and saying whatever you want to say and whatever you want to do. Then is that what this is happening? Because people will get mad at you for mispronouncing a scientific name that probably nobody knows how to fucking pronounce properly.
Most likely.
Oh, it's not platypus, it's platypus. It's Europlatus, it's not Europlatus. But I thought it was a duck-billed platypus, right? Platypus, and they're like, well, it changes. Man, shut the fuck up. It doesn't change. You just want to have something to say. Well, when it's a scientific name, see, you have to put the E before the I and the C before. So
is that really where we're going to put the energy in this? Is that what matters?
Right, bro. I'm just like,
and how is it not that people are able to have their own opinion about something? It's like, I believe in this. Okay, I believe in this. It's like religion, you know?
Right.
We can still live on this earth together and believe different things.
Yeah, well, I guess.
Is it that hard?
I agree with you, but apparently we can't because, look, I did a podcast with a guy who said that there is no such thing as a purebred dog while trying to sell people purebred dogs. So my question...
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. Perfect sense. It makes so much sense is that the only thing I could ask him, well, I said, okay.
What, are they all mutts? Or what is...
It makes so much sense. I can't even make it make sense to explain it to you because it's so perfect, you see? No, Brett, like, he said that, and then, so, like, my first question, and I had to figure out how to formulate it, was, well, how do I buy the dog then? Well, what is it called? If it's not a purebred dog, so if I call it a boarable, but it's not a boarable, because you said there's no such thing as a purebred dog, so what am I buying? How am I supposed to buy one of your dogs, sir? What do I ask for?
Give up, Brain. Give up.
Yeah, it's like what do I ask for? Like when I call you, like, yeah, I'm just going to buy a dog. Well, technically, I can't call to buy a dog. Well, I can because the dog is the male and the bitch is the female. So even if I call to buy a dog or a bitch, I still have to know, like, well, what kind of dogs do you have? Because there's no purity and standards don't matter. Why? So this is why he did that, though. This is why. And I exposed this guy on a live. Ever since then, he keeps trolling all my lives, like trying to get me to debate him again. He's like, oh, you're ducking me. I'm like, bro, you're a moron. I'm not debating you again.
I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah, I'm only gonna lose brain cells, bro.
Yeah.
So he says there's no purity, no standard, and coming to find out is, so he's been crossing his purebred dogs into another purebred dog to get like colors or something that the dogs aren't supposed to come in. And so then he'll take those hybrids, or let me not call them hybrids, those outcrosses, and then he'll breed them back to his dog. So we call that a breed back. And don't get me wrong,
he sells them as purebred?
Well, and then he'll sell them as purebred. Now, after 7 generations, that shit's going to be gone anyway, whatever he did. And here's the thing. Breed back is a technique, right? Any master breeder uses it when they have to, and they'll tell you, they can explain it to you the same way I'll explain it now. But you don't breed back you're never breeding back for color. You should never even be selling a dog based on its color anyway, unless the color is something that has like a default, like blue or white or solid black or something like that. Then you got to, anyway, we're not going to get into the dog shit, but he wants these dogs to be a different color for a higher dollar, right? So genetically, he's diluting them, and then he wants to bring it back. So basically what happens is those outcrosses will go back into another purebred dog, right, of the original breeding. But he's not going to tell you that. So when you go do a testing, you probably get a DNA test back of like 92%, 95%, something like that. Within 5 or 6 generations, it'll be back at 100%. But also what happens is he loses that. So that breed back that he did, he's going to lose it because, one, he can only do it one time without getting himself in trouble. Because if you keep breeding back, then you're going to end up with a new breed of dog. So generally, when you want to breed back, this is when you would use a breed back. Is, let's say you've got some Bernese Mountain Dogs, right? And you've been breeding this line of dogs for about 30 years, right? And now you're starting to see like your dogs are getting a little bit shorter. Maybe the length, they're not as muscular. For whatever the reason is, you're starting to see that now in a period of time that the genetic makeup of your dog is starting to disintegrate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that's telling you is you have to bring in something new. Because on a true line bred program, everything there is probably line bred at that point, meaning it's all related. So even if I were to cross something from here, according to what my COI, and if you don't know what a COI is your coefficient or your calculator of inbreeding. So it basically helps you to know when to inbreed or if or what the percentage may be. We don't have that in the reptile world because nobody gives a fuck. Let's put shit together and do it. So basically you would do that like, oh man, I need to beef my dogs back up a little bit. So you would specifically go and find a dog that is closer to what you already have. So like a Bernese Mountain Dog, you might grab like a Saint Bernard because that makes more sense, or a Great Pyrenees because that makes more sense. You know what I mean? And so because you don't want to take your dog somewhere else. And hopefully you only have to do this 2 or 3 times. So you take that dog, whatever it is you pick, and then you integrate it into your program in a specific location. If you've done this, that means you've got a whole portfolio of all your breedings, everything you've done, and you can go back. You should have a manual. You should have a fucking manual that when you breed and sell a pup or a snake or whatever, you should be able to give that manual, a copy of that with every animal. That's what I thought was going to be happening from the 90s until right now, and that's not what the fuck is happening.
No.
But so that's what so breed back. He breeds it in. He beefs his program up, and then he does it again on another line so he can have it over there. So just in case that line slips, he can bring that line back in, and he can loop it back under. Boom. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So something that can also be done with the reptiles as well, but we just do a lot of line breeding and outcrossing. But yeah, I thought like in the 90s there were guys like Rico and a few other guys, like you buy an animal from them and they gave you like the blueprint. Because if I buy an animal from you that you bred, who the fuck is going to tell me, yeah, species specific, it's a green tree python. Okay, yeah, I know that, but it's your animal, bro. What the fuck have you been doing with that stuff over there? Because at the end of the day, captive breeding changes all of that. That's what matters.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like if you've
You're
been doing
way
this,
into this more than I am.
Yeah, well, for sure, because you have that right. But that's why I get paid the big dollars. No, not anymore.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, well.
No, not anymore. They don't pay me. Now they just want to talk to me for free. I gotta pay you. I gotta pay you to figure out how to buy a house for free.
Yep.
So, but yeah, when you bred a bunch of shit, bro, you'll know. Like, and if you get to that point, like you'll see what I'm talking about. When you start breeding, bro, you won't even want to sell your stuff to people you don't know. Which is why I don't breed anymore.
No, I don't want to deal with people. That's why I haven't bred yet.
Yeah, I would rather like breed stuff and like give it away to people that I know. And
definitely.
Get no money off
I don't do this for the money anyway.
Right.
So I can give. If there is one person who comes up to me and say, "I love your rough scale pythons," I would do this for them. I love them. I was like, "Yeah, take a pair. I don't care. Give them a good home."
Right. And see, that's like
teach me the things that you learn about this species.
Right. But and see, that's what we're not doing anymore, bro, because everybody knows everything. Everybody's an expert. Everybody's been on social media. Everybody's like, remember, like
I read it on internet.
Yeah, I remember. We talked about the rough scales, since you brought the rough scales up, because I love rough scales. I remember when they first found them. I watched the episode. I was like, man, I want one. I'm probably never gonna get any, but I hope I do.
The before the flood episode.
Right. And then
Fuck yeah.
I remember when they first started selling the rough scales. And I was like, well, won't be getting one of those because I couldn't afford it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then I didn't know this at the time. And I know we have talked about this directly.
Mm.
That everything came from five species, from five animals. So
Yep.
for me, that was a deal breaker. Like, I love
Understand.
that snake. I think it's an awesome snake. I wouldn't mind having one, but from a breeding standpoint, because I want to breed, even if it's just for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever have to sell anything. You don't even ever have to know. But I've bred stuff here in the last 5 years, and people didn't even know I bred it because I just give shit away. Like, all right, bro, you want these? You want these geckos? You want these?
Yeah.
You want that? Want that? Here, I got bored. I wanted to breed some shit this year. I don't know. I'm just really good at breeding shit. So, but yeah, bro, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know, everything's different. That's all. That's really what it comes back down to is you're just dealing. It's a whole different mindset. But some people are okay with that, and I'm not knocking anyone that is. Obviously, like you have rough scales. I know other people that have rough scales, and I've had this conversation with them too. I'm just like, man, I would love to have them, bro, but I just feel like anything that I try to do breeding wise is just going to collapse on itself. I was like, because the genetic diversity just isn't there.
I can see that.
And so I'm like, for me, from a breeder, from a person who is bred the way I've bred, it's a no-go.
All right.
You know what I mean? But it's still
an
an animal. I think that should be appreciated. I think now I will say this: what I have thought about doing.
Tell me. Please confess.
Yes, I will confess this.
Yeah.
I have thought about a rough, like if I could get, and it's the thing is, I guess the only way we could do this is with a panel testing. We'd have to be able to get genetic testing from, like, if I were to find 2 breeders that have them and test them genetically to see what the COI is on those animals. But if I was like, bro, if I ever got rough scale pythons, what I would do is I would buy carpet pythons, 2 carpet pythons, a pair of carpet pythons. And I would use, remember what I just talked about for the breed back? I would use those carpet pythons to spread out the genetic diversity. And in about 10 years, I would have pure, unrelated rough scale pythons.
So you want to make hybrids?
In a sense, they would for about 5 or 6 years, they would be hybrids. And then coming into the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th year, all that carpet python, that specific carpet python DNA, if it's done right, if I could source the right amount of animals, generally by the 8th generation, you're down to about 2%. So the breeding after that is rough scale. But it would take a lot of animals and a lot of time. Because you would need, so for every pair of rough scales, you would need a pair of carpets of regular, and they would all have to be the same species of carpet, and they would all have to be unrelated because the genes are so tight. Like in the dog world, we call that. So like someone will call me and they'll say my program has been going on for like 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. And they'll ask me about a particular breeding, and they'll be like, how tight is it? How tightly bred is it? And I'll be like, oh man, it's pretty fucking tight, bro. Like, and I did this, and this, and this, and this. And tight breeding is basically meaning like, man, there's a lot of line breeding going on in there. So it's tight, bro. Like, I mean, like there's a breeder, his name is, what is his name? It's called his page, I think is just called the Real American Pit Bull Terrier. That's crazy. Chico Lopez. Chico Lopez is his name. Chico Lopez. And all he breeds is American Pit Bull Terriers. And they only come in one color, red nose. If you go to his page right now, you will be like, well, how do I pick my dog? Because they are like carbon No, it's not even. I can't even say carbon copies, bro. They're like exact copies. Doesn't matter if you get a male or a female. Doesn't
They're
matter.
just the same dog.
Yeah, doesn't matter if it came from 2018 or 2025, because they are that tightly bred. Nothing but reproductions. Nothing but reproductions. So, you know, COI on that is crazy. Like, you have to outcross that shit. But with the reptiles, it's what I refer to as a hard gene animal, and I just use that as a term, that simple term, just meaning like it's harder to manipulate the genes. Why do we think we only see morphs? Like when we breed reptiles together, you look at reptiles from like the 14th century, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, currently, they all look exactly the same. You look at dogs from the same time period. You look at a fucking English bulldog from 40 years ago. That doesn't even look like the same dog anymore because the genes are softer. They're more malleable. So, like I said, with reptiles, it's just a lot more work. And I think that's why the inbreeding is such a huge thing, because it speeds up the process. But it locks. It's like when you do an inbreeding, you have amplified by 2 times everything negative wrong with those animals. So, which is why we only see changes in the color, but we're not seeing changes in the physical appearance of the animal. Like I don't think we would ever be able to change that unless it become through hybridization. But like with dogs and cats, like cats don't have as many phenotypes as dogs. Like dogs have like crazy amount of phenotypes, crazy. You know what I mean? You can breed a pit bull with a German Shepherd, and you can get pit bull, German Shepherds, pit bulls, German Shepherds, and some more shit. Because that's just how the canine gene works. And then sperm retention is another thing, even with reptiles and with humans, that still passes on DNA. And bro, there's just so much shit we don't talk about because, you know, trying to get on that podcast. But I think if within between 10 and 15 years with the right amount of animals, I could make a pure rough scale python. Hypothetical. I've done it on paper, but 10 or 15 years, I ain't got that kind of time.
If you ask me, keep it on the paper.
But and that was only something I thought about specifically for that species. I was like, man, I would love to have multiple unrelated lines. And I'm like, but the only way to do that would be to breed back. And I was like, and then you get 3 or 4 lines, but then those lines become inbred because who do you sell them to? You got to sell them to the same people that are already doing the incorrect thing. So that's why I was like, I don't even think it's a good idea either way. But, you know, I think about shit
Focus on other things.
Yeah. I mean, we've got, you know, the hybrid has been a big deal lately. Even though this
I fucking hate hybrids.
Yeah, it's been happening since what, the 80s? Well, really, I think Australia Zoo did the first one in 76.
With
hybrid was a carpet python scrub python cross. Yeah, it was the first one that I've known to be documented. I know there's a couple that happened in the wild.
Was it on purpose?
Yeah, they did it on purpose.
All right.
Yeah, that's the first time that I've known of a zoological society to do, or a zoological institute to do a hybrid program. And they did.
Never heard about this. Do you know if you can find information?
I have the whole PDF. I can send it to you.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I have the whole PDF. Yeah, I have the whole thing. Yeah, because when I had looked into, like, for a while, I was looking into, like, making my own breed of snake. Because when I did the podcast with Dylan, when we were talking about, like, breeds and things like that, and how, you know, like, ball pythons and basically how morphs have become breeds. So you have, like, a bumblebee is a breed of ball python, or a spider is a breed of ball python. Because, you know, you have selectively bred that animal to go against everything. You know what I mean? And it's... Yeah,
I can see your point of view.
You know, because it's like there were no pit bulls running around in the wild. There were no German shepherds. We had Canis familiar, and then we got that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every even our cows, our chickens, they all come from wild type shit, and they all have breeds. You have breeds of cow, breeds of chicken, breeds of fish. How the fuck don't we have breeds of snakes? Well, that's just because the reptile community doesn't want to say that we do, but we do. Same process. You took that animal, you changed its color 19,000 times, bro. Like,
then we can talk about cows. It's like the Angus. If we go into the food process, the Wagyu, all of those.
Angus, Wagyu, Longhorn, all those are different breeds that come.
Yeah,
so,
because they wanted different characteristics to do different things. Yeah.
The Chinese, 200 AD, created the first selectively bred animal, the goldfish, from wild carp. You know what I mean? So the goldfish is, if you look up breeds of fish, it'll give you a whole list, and it'll say goldfish, the oldest breed and the most widely traded breed of fish on the planet. So, but yeah, I thought about it. It's like, I think what kind of,
I don't like it, but it makes sense.
Right, no, it's like I said, I would have preferred that morphs don't exist. Same. Myself personally. Yeah. I mean, it's a disintegration of the animal. Like,
do you believe that like crossbreeding between species are necessary for evolution, though?
I don't think necessarily for evolution,
because the borders of countries, we set those borders.
Exactly. Well, that's something, right. Yeah, that's something. That's what I wanted. That is why I told you, bro, this is going to be my favorite because I told you I was going to do the Green Tree Python podcast, and that is one of the things I wanted to talk about is these man-made borders.
Do they know where the Kufiao border is or the Aru border is?
No, exactly, bro.
They have no fucking idea.
But like, they talk about like northern and southern. Yeah. Okay, but if I'm in the north, right? If I'm in the north, let's say northern and south, and then you've got the man-made border here in the middle, right there, and it's a mountain. It's usually a mountain range. That's what it is. So if I'm here in the north, and then I go here to the border, am I not now in the south? That's the north-south, right? Because north-south is a real thing. Yeah. And so if I start in the north of the south, and then I go to the south, am I not in the north-south now? So where are you?
How it works, right?
That's how it really works.
We talked about. I heard something about the scrubs because they come from the same place as the green tree python. So I mean, it would apply
pretty
to
much the same thing, right?
Yeah. So use things like highland or differently, south, west.
But they have low highland and central highland. I've shown people these maps, bro. Yeah. They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
It makes more sense than using the different locality species.
But it's politics and money because if you say it's a Maroke or a Tanamera, like I've got what would be considered a Tanamera in there, but Tanamera is in Maroke. But if you've never been there, you wouldn't know this shit. Because Maroke is a huge area. Right?
I heard about the green tree pythons that they collect the animals from the whole island.
Yeah,
and then just because it flies out from Biak, everything becomes Biak.
From Wamena, from Wamena is like one of the main things. It's like Wamena, and generally most of those animals are what they would call Cyclops or Jayapura. And that's where those animals are coming from. I've been to Wamena. I've shown footage of Wamena. Wamena is a city, bro. There's the range that's around Wamena. They don't even call that Wamena. And so if there are any snakes there, I guarantee you those are snakes that probably got loose or that have been brought there and just have been there, living in that area. But you go, bro, oh my God, I was just talking to Jimmy from Gecko and Gecko because he traveled, if you don't travel, if you haven't done it, you're not going to you're not going to be able to have these type of conversations. I don't care how people feel about it, bro. Get a fucking passport. Stop listening to these goddamn podcasts. Even mine. I tell people, don't take my word for it. Get on a podcast, get your passport, and go the fuck over there yourself.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah. Like Reading Rainbow. Don't take my word for it. Go over there.
No.
Yeah, go over there and see it yourself. Most of them don't believe shit I'm saying anyway. So
they shouldn't.
Bro, I've shown them maps from Indonesia by Indonesians where it's like North Highland, Central Highland, Lower Highland, and they're like, nah.
We don't call it that.
Where you make that map up at?
Yeah.
Right? it's all about politics and money. That I even, man, listen. How is it that the green tree python has been split into 4 species now, right? Well, the scrub, like you just said, the scrub python exists in every single place that the green tree python does.
But they're all Somalia amethystine, right?
Right. Except for Classoleptis. Well, Tracii, Nada, Classoleptis. But then Aru should be its own species, is Amethystina.
Yeah.
But it's in the Moluccan Island chain.
Yeah. And then we have the Uxibils, is there an Uxibil green tree python locality?
Yep. That they just brought over here, and they only got 2 of them, and then 1 died. I only know that because and this was, remember when I had those Tanamera GTPs like a few years ago, the white stripes. So when I had those, that's around the same time those Oscar bills came over here, but they wouldn't sell them to me.
Or if they even were.
Well, I don't know where I think all that shit is Tanamera, to be honest, because it's all like Tanamera, Bintang, and Oscar bill have region that overlap. When you do the actual like layout of the land, but like you said, people are going by the borders that so and so drew, and that's not right. That's some politics shit. That's why I was like, just because the island isn't attached to Sweden, it's still Sweden, right? I just want to make sure, because apparently that's not how shit works anymore. But yeah, no, if they know that Tamikas are popping and people are looking for Tamika, they're going to say everything is fucking Tamika.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I've gotten Tamika scrubs in, 3 of the 4 looked alike, and then one of them looked like a Southern Moroccan. But here it is, according to the map that man made, Tamika is a Southern, even though it's like way up in the central area. I had one that had bands like a Highland. And so, like, my one friend saw my Tanamera, and he's like, oh, man, it looks like a Southern. And I'm like, yeah, but what is this? Southern to what? Southern to where? Northern Southern or Southern Northern? Or Eastern Southern? Southeast? Southwest? What type of Southern are we talking about? Because I've known, like, you know, this is how I know, like, people, I don't even think people just even really be, like, really looking at their animals more so outside of, like, only take this for Instagram. Oh, he's fucking awesome. He's insane. Like, every time I turn on a fucking YouTube, it's like the most insane GTP collection ever. Like, they're all fucking insane, bro. Like, this is crazy.
Amazing.
Like, but it's, I don't know, bro. I guess I really love animals, so I see it differently. Like, it is a beautiful animal, but at the same time, I'm curious on why these animals look this way and why they do this and why they do that, to the point where I still have some of the same questions that have never gotten answered over the decades about some of these animals. You know, like, man, why do you do that? Why do you do
From the pros.
From the pros. From the pros.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now everybody's a pro these days, so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, everybody's a pro, bro. That's why, like, I took so long to get on social media. And, you know, we used to talk all the time, and I'd be like, bro, you won't believe this stupid shit. You'd be like, like, it's so much over there, I don't even want to hear it. Like it's sad. It's just nonstop over here.
Do you have Facebook?
What's that?
Do you have Facebook?
I used to. I heard it's worse there.
Have you been into any reptile groups on Facebook?
I've never been in a reptile group on Facebook. I've had a couple interactions, but I've heard things.
Fuck, that's fucking hell on earth.
Yeah, I've heard, bro.
That's insane.
Well, that's where Facebook is where the problems with me and MJ and Marcel and the Classoleptis and all that started. That's why I don't have Facebook anymore. That's where all that started. Because I had a problem with someone else, and then someone else just wanted to put their 2 cents in that didn't have anything to do with it. And then all this giant beef came from a Facebook post, and, you know,
all these opinions.
Yeah, and I just wanted someone to stop lying. Like, bro, that's crazy, bro. I just helped you do that for a whole year, and then you went on here and told people you didn't even know who the fuck I was. Like, bro, it's so funny because even you knew. Everybody knew that I was helping that guy breed those snakes, bro. Everybody. Yeah. Everybody knew. Yeah. And so when people were sending me that and they were like, who helped you? Any idea who helped you? Or did you just get like, nah, bro, I just got lucky? I'm like, oh, yeah, we got to fight.
Excuse me.
Like,
1 second.
work, bro. Like, that's crazy. I spent
Yeah.
hours and hours on the phone with you. Like, every other day, FaceTime, text message. Now you don't know who I am. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that bro, he begged me to stop posting that stuff. He said, "Can you please stop?" I was like, "Well, you gotta tell these motherfuckers the truth, bro. You can't keep lying to people."
What?
Yeah,
You
know
fucking start stuff. You fucking what?
He even told me that Kevin McCurley, and not that I give Kevin any props for anything, because I don't, but he even told me that Kevin calls him for monitor advice. That's when I knew he was full of shit. I was like, bro, ain't nobody calling you for no monitor advice. Like, if you can breed monitors, breeding these pythons should be a breeze to you. In my opinion.
Well,
that's my opinion.
I'm trying to stay out of it. I'm just here for the passion of the snakes, you know.
But yeah, but that, Jacob, that's been my biggest thing when I talk to everybody. I'm like, bro, I don't even want to be having these fucking arguments with these people. I want to get on, and I mean, don't get me wrong, we can laugh at the clowns and the bozos because it's good for entertainment. But at the same time, like, it's sad that I meet one person, like, oh man, this guy's really great. Then I got to meet like 8 assholes before I meet another good person.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean? So it's like out of like 32 people, only 3 of them were worth talking to.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I was like, I remember when social media first started. I think the whole thing is once they started paying you for social media, that changed everything.
Of course.
Because think about it, if they weren't paying people for this, nobody would be worried about who's first or who did this or who's coming on. Motherfuckers probably wouldn't even be doing podcasts. No. Like I do, because I ain't never made no money off of this shit. Like I literally just did this so I could sit and talk to my friends, wherever y'all may be, laugh, joke, talk about some snakes, do this, that, and the other, and have a good fucking time. And other people want to tune in and, kick their 2 cents in the comments.
Hell yeah. Welcome.
That
I love this. This is all I want.
Yeah, that's what I thought that's what social media was going to be about. But they're like, nah, bro, pay them.
Social media.
Give them the money. Pay them. Like,
why? Aren't we supposed to be social with each other? I think people became more and more individual after social media.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They become separated.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Why? It doesn't make sense. We can talk to the world now.
And I think that's a part of what also has fueled this less than worthy part of the pet trade. It's because now people are sitting at home. They're getting paid to sit at home. And so maybe they wanted a dog and they could never afford one, but now they can. Doesn't mean they should have one. Maybe they wanted a monkey and now they can. Maybe they wanted a snake. Now they can. Like, it's a lot easier to get this stuff. I mean, I don't know about over there, but over here, it's a lot easier to get stuff. Venomous used to be a little bit harder to get. The laws haven't really changed on venomous. I think it's just the people who are selling venomous now are younger, and they're just on social media too, and they're like, fuck it, bro, I'm just trying to make a buck.
I mean, the thing is, everyone can get anything if they wanted to.
Yeah, they would. Dude, years ago,
that's how the world looks right now.
I remember, bro, I would ask people when people would call me wanting to buy stuff that I'd have for sale. And the way I saw it was, it's like, you're buying my pet in a way. Like, this is mine. Like, and so people would call me and, if I didn't feel like I was going to see this person again or talk to them again, I wouldn't sell to them. Because I would get real uncomfortable real quick. When it comes to animals, bro. It's just like, it's the same feeling I get. Like I told Eddie, Eddie, Father Blue, I related to him when he went to Indonesia and he saw the the pet markets over there. I said, bro, I see the same markets. I said, I know exactly how you feel, bro. I said, trust me. I said, it's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I said, but unfortunately there's a but. And that but is man. And I said, it's not going to stop either way. And even if they don't put them in here, again, they want to turn these islands into tourist traps and things like that anyway. And I said, what has bothered me about all of this? And I know other people have had to have this thought. All right, government, we can't stop you. Okay, fine. But when you're doing all the deforestation and killing all the animals and the trees and all that shit, what is the problem with letting us go over there and get some of that stuff? I just don't understand that. No. You're killing it on purpose. You know there are animals that live there. Whereas a human, we're supposed to be the highest form of life on Earth, right? Physically. So that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what we say.
Right. Well, that's what we say. Right? But I've seen, I know gorillas and monkeys that are way more organized in life and doing better than we are.
Dude, fucking whales.
So, right. So, I mean, I just...
Name one animal.
Right.
We die without insects. The insects live without us.
Yeah. No, we are, like I said, so if that's the case, like, why? I mean, you're trying to make money. You're I don't know. I try to look at it from the greedy man standpoint as I'm leveling this stuff and I'm going to build here and I'm going to make money. That's true. That's what's going to happen. But I guess I take it a step further, maybe because I like animals. So I'm like, I'm going to get even greedier. So I'm going to give people 30 days. I'm going to let biologists, trappers, whoever the fuck come over here for 30 days and get what you want. Because in 30 days, I'm leveling this shit. And you're going to pay me. You're going to be here for 30 days or however long you're here. You pay by the week, maybe like $2,000, $3,000 or whatever it is. But I'm going to make that extra money. You get as much as you can get. I'll soften the laws, the export laws, so you can get this shit out of here in a hurry. Because I'm going to kill it anyway. I never understood that. Like when they do that, it's just like, fuck the animals. Humans are weird, bro.
I'm getting sad hearing about it.
Yeah, bro. It's like we will go and like hunt an animal to like damn near extinction, right? And then try to save the motherfucker when there's 3 of them left. Well, bro, if you didn't shoot them all, you wouldn't have had to save any of them. Like what? Like, and you know what the crazy part about what I just said is? It's all for credit. So you hunted it for whatever reason. And now you're trying to save it so that you can say that you're saving it to get grants and programs and and then you get mad when people like I have a friend who does he's a herpetologist and he's like, bro, do you know that? And see, because I've never been active in the field after college, like people know me, bro. I started selling drugs and working in the kitchen. That's it. You know me. I ain't gonna bullshit you, bro. You know me, bro. I don't have time for the bullshit. So I never did any active research anywhere, like for a college or anything like that. But my friends do. And I talk to them all the time. And they hate herpetoculture. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. Not all of them, but some of them. But they're like, man, bro, you know that it is easier for you to get export permits to take animals out of countries than it is for me to get research permits to go and do research on animals, because the research that I do could possibly fuck up shit for the government, like money-wise, like zoning, deforestation, and things like that. If they were to go and stumble on something or find something, a new population, he's like, so that's crazy. Yeah.
It's the world, man.
It's crazy, bro. That
we don't deserve this planet.
No, we really don't, bro. Like, you're watching, like, what was that? Do you ever watch Dragon Ball? Dragon Ball Super?
No. Well, I was out in the woods. I was playing with sticks.
There's a character on there. What was the name? I forget his. Zamasu was his name, and he was a god. Well, he was a godling. He was being trained by an elder god, but his whole goal was to eradicate humans from the planet so that the planet could go back and,
I like him already.
Flourish and right. Well, they killed him, unfortunately.
Oh,
because he's the bad guy. Well, hey, you know what? All right, another example.
Oh.
you know the game Street Fighter, right? Familiar with Street Fighter? He's like, I don't fucking know, bro. Well, Street Fighter, right? It's an anime and it's a video game. The excuse me. The protagonist in there, M. Bison, is actually the good guy. When you look up what he's trying to do, he's trying to get rid of the government because they're destroying the planet and trying to take over and enslave everybody. But yet you're playing with all the people to stop him. They've told you that all the Ryu and Ken are everyone thinks is the hero. They're trying to stop shadow law. But shadow law is trying to stop the government from implementing like the shit they're doing right now, that type of shit. So it's crazy how like some of these things that we've been watching and growing up at has actually been like in reverse. So
coincidence? I think not.
Bro, you should have been my co-host. That's what it should. That's what it.
Hell yeah. Next episode.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, bro, my homie was like, bro, please do not get off social media. He's like, you're like the best podcast that we have. He's like,
don't yet. Do it your way, man.
But see, and that's the thing. He's like, because you're the only person that'll get out and say what the fuck you want, and then show proof. Or he's like,
don't commercialize it.
Yeah, he's like, every time I get done watching, he's like, I can actually go and look up what you said, or I can take notes and like feel comfortable that I got functional information. You know what I mean? And he's like, the people that you bring on, like, these guys they got the same level of passion and skill that you do. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm not gonna bring some fuck boy on, and sit there and talk to him for 2.5 hours. Or like, no, there's no fucking way, bro. So, but no, bro, everyone is they're like, please don't go, please. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I have an idea of the show that I would like to do, but it has nothing to do with animals, bro. That's the thing.
Then don't do it.
It's and it's like, but that show is gonna get everybody in trouble. So I don't like with the.
And don't fucking do it.
That is Jacob. That is why I told my producer, I was like, bro, I have to go. I was like, you haven't been picking up every show that I do. I keep kind of like going off topic a little bit. And I was like, I don't even mean to. I was like that. I was like, because that's really what I want to talk about. I said, but we're all gonna get in trouble because of me. I said, because just like I show y'all. Yeah, hardcore shit for the reptiles and the canines. I said I got more hardcore shit about that too, and I said, that's why I want to get off before I say fuck it and do the show. It's gonna be the greatest show ever.
Go unleashed.
Yeah, it'll be the greatest show ever. But
I mean, you do whatever you want, man. This world is fucked anyway.
I mean, yeah, that's what people are like, bro. We need it because if people are like, bro, what are we gonna do? They're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, look, bro, just prepare, bro. All I can tell you is
buckle up.
Buckle up, right? Buckle up. Don't be so. Be frugal with your spending habits and things like that. Like you never know what's going to happen because every day is something different. I said you don't want to get to the point, bro. I said don't. They're trying to ban the pet trade. They're doing little things soft and subtly to get that out of the way, and then the more and more that these exotic animals keep popping up in these other random places where they're not supposed to be, doesn't help. Fortunately, you guys don't have a major problem over there like we do over here with that.
Not yet.
Is there something like that happening over there? Because if there is. They're definitely not saying much about it over here.
Nope. The thing is, we won that fight. So the government, the specific animal keeping government part called Jordbruksverket, they wanted to expand the sizes of the different animals. I mean, cage sizes of animals, the minimal size regiment. And then it became just like nobody is going to be able to keep animals anymore. And then a new study showed that insects had pain receptors. So we were not legally able to feed with insects anymore.
I think I did hear that part.
Yeah, this was fucked.
Is this in Sweden or is this the EU?
No, this is in Sweden specifically. So everybody came together. It's like, okay, so are we not allowed to pick off ticks? Can you never kill a mosquito?
Right.
Can we not go fish with worms anymore?
Right. How are you going to eat? Well, I guess it must eat plastic.
Where did we draw the limit? Or they were like, okay, so we didn't think this through. And we fought. I mean, everybody, we email bombed them for weeks. And it's like, oh, you have to go through our our website and answer this. I was like, fuck your website.
Yeah, no, that's how you
Yeah.
got to do it, bro.
Yeah, and we did, and we won. And there's like, okay, so we take a step back. We're going through this again, and we're gonna come back with a new suggestion. And we say we are not against the new routes.
Right.
I mean, everything needs to be improved because it hasn't been for like 40 years or something.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah, exactly. So please do, but do it reasonable.
Yeah,
I mean,
logic has to come into play.
Yeah. Do the research, do it the right way. Ask us if you want to. I mean, we would love to help, but they don't. But yeah, so I mean, things are happening here as well.
Yeah, I figure at this point, like I said, it's been. I mean, if we're going to separate ourselves from 1920 to 1987, fine. Okay, so then after that, at this point in time, I feel like U.S. Ark should have like a U.S. Ark, but then they should also have like an IARC, an International Reptiles Association that is branched off from there, that is, has subsidiaries throughout the EU, the UK, and Asia, and anywhere that people are keeping reptiles.
Sure.
That's what should have been happening. Like, and in my mind as a kid coming up in the canine world and then in the reptile world in the 90s, I remember, like, I thought that that's what would have happened. Is that, we were going to see that. And we don't see that. It's like you have groups in Ireland, groups in Sweden, groups here, groups there. And then they kind of communicate with each other, but not really. And only when shit is kind of like, well, bro, how is he gonna help you? This shit's happening in Ireland. That's not gonna do shit over here. Like, the only thing, he can trade some information and say, yeah, this is how they may have done this, that, and that, and maybe they tricked us or whatever. No, obviously, of course, trade information. But at this point, like, we should be like, you know how like the government has like standstills where they just like it's a draw. We don't even have that kind of capacity to get a draw with these people. Like, we're either going to win it or we're not. And a lot of times we don't win. And then the little shit that they do win doesn't even matter. But then
I don't understand why. Because when I grew up, there was like, if you were an animal person, you had like a parrot, a boa constrictor, a dog, a cat. Then you had that in your house and there was no issue. You were just the person that had animals at home. And nobody said anything because everybody did it the right way.
Right.
But now I don't understand what's happening. I mean, why is everything so fucked? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and you would think like
everybody's cheating and it's just money based and there's no passion and there's no love.
Yeah, you would think, like I said, I just feel like, and I've said it a million times, I hate to sound like a broken record, but until I see it, which I don't ever think that we will, unfortunately.
But in our lifetime.
Right. And people can say like, oh, well, you should try. I did. And anybody who hasn't watched, anybody who knows me knows, including this man, like, I tried to pay for it out of pocket and they wouldn't run with it. Because,
no, thanks. We're good.
Right. They're like, oh, no, you're working for the government. Like, bro, you clearly don't listen to me because listen to the last thing.
I clearly don't.
You know what I mean? But, and I think that was another thing. People hear registration and they're like, oh, it's got to be government run. But there's no animal registration that is government run or government funded in the world. We're talking about like private registration. We're not talking about, like the American Humane Society or the Swedish Animal Foundation, that's government. But no, we're talking about the American Kennel Club, the Federation of Cynological Internationale, that shit is, those are all private entities.
Yeah.
With private money, they do what they want. We've seen this we've seen the FCI go in on a dog breed because the donors were paying them money. And we're like, yeah, but we want to change the name of the dog to make it more politically correct. And while you're doing that, can you also change the standard? And they did it. And then they changed it back last year to the original standard after being incorrect for so many years. But the original standard had always been there the whole time. And they just didn't want to use it because this group of people over here was just like, we don't like that. We don't want the dog to come in black, and we want the dog to be bigger. We want it to be 30 to 40 pounds bigger. It can be taller. The weight limit, 30 to 40 pounds or more. And, that posed a lot of health problems, and it caused a separation in the community of one breed. You know what I mean? Like me and you do scrub pythons, and then we grow to hate each other because, you were over here.
They're supposed to be yellow.
Right. And we're, and that's basically what happened. And so now
I think animal politics, we need a separate episode for that.
No, for sure. Even in the dog world, bro, like you got a lot of guys like copying my podcast, like word for word, almost like what we're doing. Like, damn, bro, I'm like, man, how the fuck they even know I was gonna have them on? Like, and the originality.
That's the highest form of flattery.
That's a little bit. Now these guys, they're just trying to get a rise out of me. But I keep trying to tell them, bro, like, if you think the content that I'm doing now that you've seen me done is like good, like, bro, this is me playing around. Like, I haven't even done anything serious yet.
No.
I haven't done anything serious.
Put in the effort.
Yeah, see, that's what. No,
you wanted to quit, but you should do the opposite.
No, if I really do something like that, bro, it's gonna get real ugly out here. Because see me, it's not personal. It's not personal because I don't know these people. Like I can't talk shit. Okay, I can talk shit about him. So I can't talk shit.
Love the honesty.
I had to think about that one. But the average person that I may disagree with or debate with, or it doesn't even matter. I don't know them. Yeah. So it's
their actions.
Yeah. So the only disagreement we can ever have will be animal related. You know what I mean? Like, I'll trash your whole collection, but I'm not going to talk about your mom or your kids or your wife. But that's what you see a lot of that now. People's families getting threatened, and that's why I say, like, I'm not here for that. And I say that
but they don't have anything to go on, so they
right, exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, bro, you can talk shit about my animals all you want, or how I do things animal wise. Great, go ahead. I don't care. Do that, because I'm gonna talk. If you're not doing the right thing or what, I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna
get you.
Right, I'm gonna say something, and so I'm like, if I were to do the show the way I want to do the show, oh man, because
you should have the XSplit,
I have to. I have to put a disclaimer up there because some people see that some people have done a lot, and they're like, oh man, because of we've made leaps and bounds, and I'm like, what? That dude ain't done shit, bro. He didn't do anything. Did he really do anything, or is it just a guy whose dick you're riding? Because if you want to go and really backtrack and, well, this is a disintegration of genetics. This is a disintegration of genetics. This showed to be just like, so what did we do? What really have we done? Like, when I think of success, it's like I told you when we described those programs, and what you said as well is when somebody has been doing something with specific animals for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And it shows.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a facility full of 20,000 animals. It's like
I didn't ruin it. You fucking did.
Well, it's like people are like, man, I can't give all my animals the time that I need. Motherfucker, nobody told you
have
to
that
buy
many animals.
Yeah. Right. Nobody told you to buy 200 animals. Yeah. I know that for a fact because I've come in and I'm like, God damn, why did I buy all these animals?
We all have 24 hours, right?
Never do that again. But I was young. I didn't know. I thought I was following what Reptile magazine said.
Try it, realize your mistake, and do what's sustainable.
I will never do a lot of those things again. Like we talk about the tubs and the things like that. But another thing I will also not do is I will also not talk about something that I can't physically prove to you, that you can get off of a podcast that I did, and go and look it up and put it into existence. You know what I mean?
Like what you're doing to them.
Right. I don't just make up reading.
You don't want to have it done to you.
Exactly.
integrity.
I just, like I said, I just feel like, and I know a lot of people agree because more and more people are starting to gravitate to me for the last few podcasts that I've done, which is why I knew that if I get you on, we were going to have a talk where I could bring out and we could talk about some of those things because I get on podcasts and I have an idea to say these things, but some of the people that I talk to, they already have an agenda, and I don't mean a bad agenda, but some of them do, but they have an agenda. They have a schedule of questions that they want to ask me, and then I have questions that I want to ask, but then they'll get overwritten because they might ask a question I didn't think about. That's a great question, and we'll start talking. But I know me and you have talked long enough, and you said like, "Oh, that's exactly what the fuck I was hoping you would say," because I'm gonna forget. But
Same.
you know, I'm gonna forget. So we need, and that's why you said like we need each other to kind of feed off of. But if you know it all, and I know it all, then what's left to know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the guys who
I don't know shit.
That was like the same people when they want to like, oh, you got, oh, how much you want for that such and such Python? I'll be like, oh, I'll sell it to you for 1,000, or I'll take 1,000. They'll be like, oh, I can get them for 500. Okay, so why don't you have it then? That's my thing. You can get them for 5, but you're inquiring about mine for 5. So you can get one right now for 5, or in the future. Like, hell, I can get them for $3 if I wait till next year. But right now, I can't. So right now,
can you also show like how you've been taking care of these animals and why they cost the amount of money they do and all of that shit?
Right.
We don't care about that.
No, like it's.
We'd rather buy something for $500, let it die, and then buy another one for $500.
But when I understand from a wild caught animal. Like if I buy a wild caught animal from someone, they're not gonna be able to tell me shit. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting much. But if I buy a captive bred animal for some thousands of dollars, bro, you better have all kind of shit to tell me.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like
Isn't
that
what we want?
I want to hear about the parent, everything you know.
Yeah.
I want to know. Because if I plan to breed this animal, I need to know that. But if I plan to just have people come in my house, I need to be able to tell them what the fuck I have. Like I spent $2,000 on this cage, this animal, making it look good. I love it. Here it is. People come over. When they come over, before they even do anything, I got to give them the green tree python spill. I can't do that where I can just give them it's a green tree python. It's from Indonesia. All right. But if I got it from you and you've been like, well, actually, you know what? So the guy that I got this from is a guy from Sweden. From Sweden? How did you? Because it sparks more questions and interest. You know what I mean? And rather than snake, python. No, I'm like, I got some from my homie over there in Sweden, bro. Like, and I've been talking to this guy for like 3-4 years, and he said he's gonna have a clutch, and I decided to get one, so I got this ready and I set this all up, and I went through it with him, and like, look, this is how it was before. And then I got the snake and over here and and these are the parents and these are the parents' parents. And like, man, I'm thinking about getting another one because I want to breed. Like that guy, I might not even like snakes, bro.
Yep.
I'm going to be like, bro, this dude, hey, wait, who's this guy? Like, because all of that is coming from, the animal itself, your passion for the animal, but it's also coming from the seller and the breeder.
That's what I want.
If you don't give a fuck, I call you. Here's the average scenario.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah.
Here's the average scenario. Gonna buy a snake.
Is this still available?
Right. Boom. I already bought it.
Yeah, done.
I already bought it.
Yep.
I didn't talk to anybody. That's it.
Insane.
You can buy a dog like that too.
Lovely.
Now, I understand, like I said, I always try to sympathize with both parties, all parties, whatever. I can understand it's a snake. It doesn't have a specific job, so you sell it. But I'm only understanding that a little bit. Not much, though. Versus a dog. And like I said, it's only a comparison. So I understand why maybe this person doesn't have a whole spiel to give you. But then I don't understand that. Because if you bred those animals, then you got to have some kind of story.
Yep.
unless you're, I guess, the average ball python breeder. Just like, yeah, I bought them, put them in a tub, and the next thing I know, it was babies. My ball python is it's got 6 genes. It's got bumblebee, spider, paddleless. Hell, if I breed this thing together, it'll produce scrub pythons. You got a ball python that's het for scrub pythons.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised anymore.
No, I might buy that one.
Yeah, well,
you said it can make what kind of snakes now? Yeah. Can make a dog.
Fucking insane, man.
So, but yeah, that's, I'm going to get excited because the person I bought it from is excited. It's not much excitement. Like, I buy a snake from someone and it comes and I'm like, oh man, this is an awesome snake. You take a couple pictures. All right, bro, put it away. But
the things that I've noticed, the snakes that I've bought from breeders, is that they want to tell you about these animals just as much as I want to ask about them. That's how I know.
Yep. Yeah, that's how it should be. Yeah, you should. By the time you get done with the phone conversation, you should almost hang up without making a purchase because you got so caught up in the discussion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is my new friend, bro. I'm gonna call you tomorrow. What time you get home from work, man? I don't even want the snake no more. Or you know what, bro? It was such a good conversation. I'm gonna give you the snake for free, or I'm gonna give you half off, or I'm gonna, because I really feel like this snake is gonna go somewhere, and it's either gonna have a really great life as a pet, or it's gonna make some really great offspring later on. For people who want, this specific animal. And
that's it, man.
I think I see this in the dog world lately, and I think this is what's happening in the reptile world as well. And it may not look this way. And actually, I want to say it on both. So obviously we know you have really dumb people and you have really smart people, right? So we're not going to worry about the people in the middle. We're going to worry about the really dumb ones and the really smart ones. It seems to me that on both sides, canine and reptile, a lot of the really, really smart people who see what we're talking about are trying to create their own breed of dog or snake to separate themselves from the drama. And you also have people who are not so intelligent who are doing the same thing, but to try to separate themselves not from the drama, but try to say, like, I'm better than you, or I'm this, I'm that, in a way where these other people are like, man, I've been here for so long, and this is not what I remember. This is not why I got into dogs. It's not why I got into horses. So I feel like I don't want to get rid of my animals. Because, like, you see guys or girls that come up and they'll be like, getting out of the reptile world, and they get rid of everything. To me, you don't fuck with animals. You don't like animals. You were probably just making some money. Like, I'm out of reptiles, and I still buy reptiles. I would never not have animals in my home. Just because to me, when I say I'm getting out, it means it's publicly, I'm not doing anything for the public anymore. But I'm still going to be buying and breeding reptiles for myself and for my friends. So, but when
I feel the same way. I could delete the Instagram page tomorrow. I don't care.
How can you just spend that time with them animals and then just get rid of everything? But then you have to think. Some of those people, it's like what we said earlier. Guy gets into green tree pythons for 2-3 years. Doesn't even really do anything with them. He sees another snake. Oh my God, I gotta have it. So he takes the green tree pythons, uses that money to get the new snake. So then he gets 20 or 30 of the new snake. 3-4 years down the road, he maybe has a clutch or two. Then he sees another snake. Oh man, I don't want these snakes anymore. So then he uses those snakes to fund another project. Yep. Bro, there's no longevity. There's no integrity there. There's nothing happening there. Like, and so I think some people are just, I know me personally, that is why I have had thoughts of creating a snake for myself with the snakes that I like. Not to sell, and nothing like that. Just for myself, because I'm like, you know what? Ain't gonna be nobody to argue with. I ain't gonna have to worry about the prices. Nobody can tell me this, tell me that. No one even has to know that I have it. It'll just be something for myself. You know, not trying to take anything away from this snake or that snake. But I see it in the dog world as well. People are like, bro, you know, like, I'm just doing this for myself. One, because either one, they're not happy with the dogs. And that's another thing. Another reason why other people, at least in the canine world, are trying to branch off and do that is because people are lying about the genetics of their dog. They're not health testing. So now you may not even be getting what you're paying for. You know, so now you're like, bro, I'll just make my own. I'll just take the time, put the money and the effort in to make my own. And then I know what it is. And no one can tell me this and that. Now, that is okay more so than it is for a wild animal. But then I'm like, well, we're captive breeding. I'm not trying to put any of this shit back. Unfortunately, we have some people that will do that and let some shit go. And, you know, I think at this point in the eco, with everything that's going on, hell, we might have to let some goddamn animals go. It's either that or we're going to be eating these snakes at the rate we're fucking going. One of the two, maybe a little bit of both. I told my friend that, bro. He was like, man, I'm trying to get such and such and such. I said, bro, you better keep that money in your bank. I said, in the next 5 years, bro, you might be eating them Burmese pythons. I said, I hate to say that, but motherfuckers eat plastic meat, bro. So I think they already have it in Sweden, right? The 3D meat, the printed out meat.
It was a concept thing, but it never.
Oh, they never did. Well,
No.
I know there's like 2 or 3 restaurants in DC, New York, and California. Well, 2 or 3 in each state that are already, at least they've had it on the menu. I don't know if it's like a direct thing, but I know that they have been selling that shit.
I think it was more of a news headline thing than it was an actual fact.
Yeah, you never know these days. So
no, exactly. Or it's just AI anyway. So
So I just look at the bills. I tell people like, nah, bro, just pay attention to the bills. Look at the bills. Like they just passed that law for international canine shipping because they're softly trying to stop this shit. So now you can't ship dogs that are less than 6 months old. Nobody wants a dog that's 6 months or older. I'm not. So that means like I buy a dog from you and I have to wait 6 months to get it. I don't want that shit anymore.
Yeah, it's like they don't say it's illegal, but they put different laws on it to make it so nobody wants it.
Yeah,
it's the same as it. That's what I was telling about here in Sweden. You know, with the size regulations, everything is still legal, but nobody can actually get the sizes that is the minimum requirement.
Yeah, and
but we haven't banned anything.
I know the UK, parts of the UK are like that too. I know at least in Wales.
Yeah.
My friend that lives in Wales, he's like, yeah, you got to build it, and they come and inspect it, and then they give you the okay, and then they do like an annual check. And I was like, bro, I was like, over here, motherfuckers would flip out if you tried some shit like that over here. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I'm not for it, and I'm not against it. I'm for it because of, I mean, bro, they're reptiles, bro. They're not like a dog. You can see when a dog is being abused or a horse or something like that. It's not being taken care of because it's outside. You got to walk it for the most part. But, we find all these cases of animal abuse, bro. And you never know that stuff is going on because they're behind 4 walls. You know what I mean? And nobody knows. So I'm like, to one extent, like, I'm okay with that. I don't think necessarily for the home that's okay, but if you're going to be running a large facility, breeding, I honestly think the U.S., even though they don't even be doing their job, but if they were doing their job properly, I think the USDA should be all up and through your shit for real.
Definitely,
I do. I think they do. Definitely. I think they should because you're bringing in exotic animals from overseas, parasites, disease, things like that. Dude, it's harder for me to get dogs over here than it is reptiles.
Yep.
And I know the same for in Sweden as well. They may not even accept the dog over there. Like, you go through the whole process and they'll be like, and it's got to stay in quarantine for like 2 or 3 weeks over there, I think. But I've never shipped to Sweden, but I've shipped to other parts of the EU. And, it's a whole process. It takes time. Yeah. I'm not saying that importing doesn't, but yeah, it's a lot easier to get imports for reptiles than dogs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not. It costs more for reptiles, but yeah, it's
a fucked up world, man.
Yeah, so that's where we are, bro. I tell people just pay attention to the laws and watch out for the little subtle stuff. It may not mean anything. Like, man, because someone was like, why is that a big deal waiting 6 months old to get a puppy? I'm like,
It's
well, what
always in the fine print.
Right. I'm like, well, what if I bought the dog from overseas somewhere, for one? So, well, that's what I'm saying. What if I bought the dog from overseas? Either way, 6 months old to ship internationally. So if it's a Presa or a Rottie or one of these protection dogs, the first 6 months of that dog's life has been spent with a whole nother family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got some work I have to do. I need that dog when he's like, you know, between 3 and 4 months old. I've missed the bonding point. Now I have to actually pay more and wait longer to get a 6-month-old dog that now, depending on the breed, could be anywhere from 60 to 90 pounds coming in the door. Doesn't know me, doesn't know my kids if I have them. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a problem. So they know that. They know that.
They do.
So they're like, you know, and this international sales of puppies has already gone down.
Yeah.
The next thing is, you know, IATA has changed the laws for like packing and shipping exotic animals. Like, it's little subtle shit like that. And then, you know, then the next year this will happen. And then the next year, like, this will happen. That's why I said the thing about them taking the tigers into Congress.
Yeah. Because
they're like, oh, well, we're going to try to ban this so that these animals can't come over here unless you're an AZA. But then the AZAs are working with them. There's one. I'll send you the documentary. I don't know. I might have already, but it's on the Big Cat documentary. It just came out a few years ago. But one of those so-called AZAs is 2 hours from my house, south of my house. It's not an AZA. And they're just breeding big cats there. They don't have, you know, nobody's policing it, nobody's regulating it. You know, they got clouded leopards, one of the rarest cats in the world there, and they have them. And, you know, and the thing is, these animals were coming from accredited zoos. The guys like Jack Hanna, who, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are known internationally to be like conservationists and preservationists. Dude, even I'll send you the documentary. At the end of the video, Steve Irwin's son is hanging with a known animal smuggler who's shown throughout the entire video. Someone that I know as well. If you've been into that, if you were during that, there's no way you can't know them. Like, you won't know these names because they're all from over here, but they all came up in the 80s and 90s. So, yeah, but at the end of the video, you see Steve Irwin's son, and then the video pans out, and then there he is. You see the same guy in the whole video. He's from Ohio, right next door to me. The same guy. Same guy. They said yeah, bro, they said that they have brought so they got this tiger for this school called Obi. That's the name of the tiger. And they said they've had, so now at this point, Obi is just a number. They're on Obi 57 now. So yeah, every year they don't even buy, they get tiger cubs brought out for the festivals and the football games, and they bring them out in this cage and they, you know, parade them around the thing. And so every year they get a new one. Obi 57. All these tigers are supposed to be in AZAs. So, you know, all those animals that you see like on the late night talk shows, the ambassador animals. So these are the animals this documentary is about. They're going around trying to find out where those animals are, because those animals were supposed to go from that stage back to the zoo. Cincinnati Zoo, Columbus Zoo, Arizona Zoo, whatever the zoo. But they're ended up 2 hours down the road for me in a big cat facility, or in someone else's house, or a guy in Dubai, or, you know, somewhere like that. And these were the big names in the game who were participating in animal smuggling.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, man.
Well, shit, bro, we've been going for over 3 hours. I knew this would be a good one. My producer.
Yeah, we're gonna have to round this up now.
But no, bro, I appreciate you definitely for coming on. We've been waiting and wanting to do this for quite some time.
Hell yeah, man.
So no, it was a great interview. Hopefully, also, if you guys haven't seen the interview that he's done for Animals at Home podcast with my homie Dylan, definitely go check that out. Not sure when you will see this one. It will be soon though. I've got a bunch of stuff coming, people, so bear with me. A lot of great interviews. I got Vinny from VC Reptiles and Jimmy Ma on the same podcast. So that's a really good one. We're talking about a little bit of the history of the pet trade on the East Coast. This one probably will see it. Well, I'll say probably in about the next couple weeks.
They are going to see it right now.
Right now. I've got a podcast coming up. I think next week it'll come out on animals at home, and then a few more after that. But like always, we appreciate our guests for coming on. This was one of my favorites. If I do another one, you'll definitely see him. What I would like,
you are.
I'm gonna get this guy on a panel with a couple other people. Maybe I'll do like a Sweden panel. You and Kev and I can never say his name, so I'm gonna, every time I say it, I always say, when you see this, if I say it wrong, because it's Jocke. How do you say it? Jocke. Okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
So, all right, there we go. All right. So maybe we'll do like a Sweden podcast thing one time, and we'll all sit on there. And it'll be weird because I'm the only one who speaks the language. The rest of you guys all speak English, so it's going to be a weird.
We're just going to talk Swedish.
It's going to be a weird podcast.
So we can talk shit about you.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know.
You never know.
These English speakers. Now, bro, I appreciate you for coming on. My producer is going to make this intro and all that stuff look real good when he does all that with all your animals and your enclosures. So it'll look all nice when it does finally come out. People, NWA, Connie Corso is still the home. Check out the link. We're up to almost 7,000 subs now. We're a little channel, man, but we're strong. We got all the big guys trolling us. I got guys with 500, 600, 700,000 subscribers trolling me because they want to see interviews like this because they can't get this shit anywhere else. So,
hell yeah.
Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'll save that for another one. So, anyway, people, peace out.